Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Konoha, Harem Chat Group, I Can Make Up the Future. Chapter 61. I have to say that Anko's personality is really good. She dares to think and dares to do, and is brave enough to try. Although she is a little shy, this does not affect her actions at all, but adds some fun. Especially this tiger girl is not only fierce in character, but also strong in body. Miu Miu is really happy. Before crossing, she didn't say that she had killed countless people, but she was also experienced. But all added up, it was not as wonderful as Anko's physical feeling. Miu Miu, who originally had no emotional foundation for her, couldn't let her go after all the tossing. So even if she was still holding on to her breath and yelling for meatballs, Miu Miu still got up to make them for her and fed them to her mouth with his own hands. Time unknowingly came to late at night. Looking at Anko, who was sleeping with a satisfied face beside him, Miu Miu couldn't help but smile. People live their lives to constantly pursue a sense of achievement and satisfaction. And Miu Miu has now taken the most critical step, and every step in the future will be very stable. Not the peak, but better than the peak. For him, this world has expectations, but no suspense. After a quick look at the chat group, several girls are still waiting for the future video to refresh in the early morning. But at this time, they are not chatting, but seem to be working hard to improve their strength and study ninjutsu. From the chat records, it is known that after being hit before, little Sakura went directly to Yi Hospital before it got dark. She learned the simplest healing technique there, and is now working overtime to practice it. So Miu Miu began to think about the next future video. He has been busy all day today and still has no idea. It has been decided before that the next few issues will be just just put some small daily life and small extras. Of course, daily life and extras are inseparable from women, but unfortunately the few in the group are too young, and it is meaningless to interact with them. Anko has been taken, and the next one is Azuki Shion. Miu Miu pondered for a while, but couldn't find a way for the time being. After all, the matter with Shion was already in the last video, and adding some extras would inevitably be a bit superfluous. But without Shion, Miu Miu didn't know when the group system would add her to the group, which was really uncomfortable. Forget it, let's change direction. Miu Miu shook his head and reorganized his thoughts. He soon chose his target, Shuhei Kurenai. After all, there were only a few famous women in Konoha, and it was mentioned in the previous future video that Miu Miu became her disciple. Rebellion against the master, this is a very exciting story. And it can also be used to improve his Sharingan ability, killing two birds with one stone. Oh yes, there is another person, who can also be pulled out to show up. After sorting out the thoughts, it is much easier to make up the content. It didn't take long for Miu Miu to think of everything he should think of, and even did a review in advance. It happened that the time came to the early morning, and the refresh time came. Ding! The group system pushed a future clip, future video 5, Avi, which has been saved to the group file. The group system pushed it on time again, and the women stopped their work and began to turn their attention to the chat group. Haruno Sakura, it's finally here. If it doesn't come, I won't be able to hold on any longer. Yamanaka Ino, it's so funny. No one asked you to wait. If you can't hold on any longer, just go to bed. You can still watch it tomorrow, right? Haruno Sakura. Humph, I won't let you get ahead, even if you're watching videos. Tiantian. Everyone should take care of their health and combine work and rest. With the group system's buff effect, we can be one step ahead of others, so there's no need to work too hard. Hyuga Hinata. Well, health is the most important thing. Uzumaki. It's a pity that you are not from the Uzumaki clan. I don't need to spend too much time resting. Even if I consume a lot of energy, I can recover quickly in a short time. Yamanaka Ino, Tiantian, Haruno Sakura. Karen has also learned bad things. Uzumaki. No, okay, I said the wrong thing. The girls didn't hold on to it, because at this time they couldn't wait to click on the future video to watch it. The video begins. In a training ground in Konoha, the three members of Team 8 are undergoing special training, mainly Hinata and Kiba teaming up to fight against Shino. It's not because Shino is so strong, but only Shino entered the third round of the Chunin exam among the three members, and Hinata and Kiba were eliminated. Shino is preparing for the Chunin exam and actively asked Hinata and Kiba to help. He knows that his weakness is that he is too weak in close combat, and Hinata and Kiba are helping him to strengthen his close combat ability. Hyuga Hinata. Oh, I was eliminated. Tenten. Don't worry, Hinata, that was just the original future, and now we have become stronger. Yamanaka Ino. That's right, even that featureless broad forehead knows how to work hard. What reason do you have to give up? Believe in yourself. Haruno Sakura. Ino pig, are you implying me? Yamanaka Ino. Isn't this obvious? Haruno Sakura. Just wait for me. Hyuga Hinata. Everyone stop arguing, I won't give up so easily. The video continues. In another open space in the training ground, Yuhi Kurenai is teaching Mumu illusion. Kurenai soon came to the conclusion that Mumu's attainments in illusion were almost surpassing hers, and it only took a short half-month, and there were a few days of interruption due to the Chunin exam. Kurenai said that she had nothing to teach Mumu, and she decided to pass on the illusion scroll left by her family to Shion. She originally planned to bring it to the next meeting, but at Mumu's request, Kurenai took Mumu to her home. Mumu saw a photo of Hong and Kurama Yakumo at her home. When asked, Hong was in a low mood and told Mumu about Yakumo's situation. Mumu expressed sympathy and pity for Yakumo and revealed to Hong that he knew wood style. He also told Hong that his wood style had a huge amount of life energy and might be used to help Yakumo improve his physique. Mumu himself was not sure, so he just tried it, but this was a huge surprise for Hong. She wanted to try it as long as there was a chance. Yamanaka Ino. Mumu-kun is really outstanding. He is the best in every aspect. He is so charming. Tiantian. I always have a feeling that the better the group leader is, the farther he will be from us. Now I'm beginning to feel that I'm not worthy of him. What should I do? Yamanaka Ino. Don't I still have me? If you're not worthy of him alone, then we can be together. If that doesn't work, there's still Karen and Hinata. Uzumaki Karen. Even if I can only watch Mumu-kun from afar, I'll be satisfied. Hyuga Hinata. Teacher Hong had a student before. So pitiful. Haruno Sakura. This girl looks like she's a year or two older than us, right? But, she's really pitiful. Yamanaka Ino. Don't worry, since Mumu-kun knows about it, she can be saved. Tiantian. That's right, the group leader is omnipotent. Haruno Sakura. The video continues. Hong can't wait to bring Mumu to Satomi Hills, where Yakumo is staying. However, in such a large sanatorium, besides Yakumo, there is only Anbu who is responsible for monitoring and guarding around. When Mumu saw Yakumo, she hid in a dark corner and drew the image of Yuhi Kurenai on the drawing board. It seems that she cares about Hong, but when she sees Hong, her eyes are calm and there is no emotion. She also cooperates very well with Mumu's physical examination, and the whole person looks more like an emotionless robot. Mumu tried to use his wood-style chakra to warm Yakumo's body cells, which did make her feel much more comfortable, but it is not easy to use this method to help her improve her physical condition, and it may take decades. However, Mumu can alleviate Yakumo's condition, which has made Hong, 560, very happy. And after this, Yakumo also showed some closeness to Mumu. At Mumu's request, he and Hong took Yakumo outside to relax, which also made Yakumo smile. From that day on, Mumu came to accompany Yakumo almost every day, using wood-style chakra to help her warm up her body cells. At the same time, he was also thinking about a way to solve the problem once and for all. After all, Yuhi Hong is the leader of the 8th team, Jonin, and can only come with Mumu occasionally. Most of the time, she is alone. Although Yakumo cannot be cured for the time being, Yakumo's complexion is getting better day by day. This attracted the attention of the Kurama clan. They thought Yakumo's illness was about to recover and wanted to take her back to serve the Kurama clan. It happened that Yuhi Hong came with Mumu that day. In order to stop the Kurama clan, Hong and Mumu fought with them. But Yakumo was stimulated and activated Ito in her body, pulling everyone into the illusion space controlled by her. Yamanaka Ino. Kurama clan. I don't think I've heard of this clan before. Tenten. I haven't heard of it either. Haruno Sakura. Didn't I say it's a small declining clan? Hyuga Hinata. I've heard a little bit about it. It's said that when they were at their most powerful, even Uchiha couldn't match them in illusion. Uzumaki Karen. Will this Yakumo be our sister in the future? Yamanaka Ino. It seems possible. Tiantian. Forget it. The group leader has been divided into many parts. Haruno Sakura. I don't know if Yakumo is it, but that Azuki Yugao is definitely it. Oh no, she is just your sister, it has nothing to do with me. Yamanaka Ino. If you say so, why don't you leave the group as soon as possible? Haruno Sakura. I don't want to marry Mumu, but it doesn't mean I can't be good friends with him. Yamanaka Ino. But this is a harem group. Tiantian. Okay, don't argue for now. The group leader and teacher Hong seem to be in danger. That Yakumo is not that simple. The video screen continues to be one. The ability to control the five senses is quite perverted. In an instant, except for Hong and Mumu, all the other members of the Kurama clan are dead. The reason why Hong and Miu Miu didn't get into trouble right away was because Yakumo wanted to keep them until the end. Yakumo, whose mind was controlled by Ito, was full of malice towards the whole world and also expressed hatred towards Hong. Yakumo has no gratitude towards Mumu, and only wants to devour Mumu's power and take it for herself, so that she can have a healthy body. Hong tried desperately to persuade her, but Yakumo easily wiped out her lower body through the drawing board. In the illusion space, Yakumo is the creator. As long as the energy is enough, he can modify any setting at will and reflect it in reality. Mumu opened Sharingan, but was unable to escape from this illusion space. He could only barely fight against Yakumo's ability, and saved Yuhi Kurenai and let her recover. Hong and Yakumo were both surprised that Mumu had Sharingan. Yakumo laughed strangely and teased Mumu for being the same as her, both of whom were monsters who could not see the light and would be abandoned by the village 10 times. Hong also felt a little sad. The 2 disciples she accepted were not normal people. But she cared more about character. Mumu was willing to risk exposing Sharingan to save her, which touched her very much. Yakumo could only barely gain a slight advantage when fighting against Mumu's Sharingan, but she knew that her foundation was not as strong as Mumu's. As long as the stalemate continued, she would definitely lose. Opening square bracket. She remembered the joke between the 2 of them before. Yakumo was worried that Mumu would really have to spend decades to help her warm up her body, which would delay Mumu. Mumu smiled and told her that if it really took decades, then let Yakumo become his wife. Yakumo, who was controlled by Ito, knew that she had lost the opportunity to devour Mumu's body, so she gave up and said that as long as Mumu was willing to become her husband and wife, she would let the 2 of them go. In addition to Yakumo's own obsession, she also wanted to use this method to obtain some life energy from Mumu, and Soden straightened up. Mumu refused, of course, and Hong also said that this would hurt Yakumo. But in order to make Mumu submit, Yakumo wiped off Hong's clothes and put her in various seductive postures to fuel Mumu's anger. Hong was ashamed and angry, but she could do nothing about it. Mumu can only guarantee Hong's life, but cannot stop Yakumo from doing such a thing. Hong saw that Mumu was in great pain, and under the mental shock, she was no match for Yakumo. So she decided to sacrifice herself and let Mumu save Yakumo. Mumu saw that Hong was determined to die. If he really agreed to Hong's request, she might commit suicide afterwards. Under Yakumo's step-by-step pressure, Mumu simply agreed to Yakumo, hoping to take the initiative. Mumu transformed into a brutal warrior and pounced on Yakumo, but it was actually Ito. Yamanaka Ino. This Ito is too hateful. How could there be such a thing in Yakumo's body? Tiantian. There are too many strange things in the ninja world. Ito's is actually not too strange. But she treats Mumu like this, I'm so angry. Hyuga Hinata. Mr. Kurenai. Haruno Sakura. This plot is leaning towards that again. It can't be something related to Mumu, is it something related to that? Is it some special physique? Yamanaka Ino. Mumu-kun is actually with that kind of thing, I'm so angry. Tenten. I do. Hyuga Hinata. Uzumaki Karen. Oh, even someone as strong as Mumu-kun is restricted in that illusion space, this ability to control the 5 senses is really a bit beyond the scope. Uzumaki Karen. Although it's fine as long as Mumu-kun's life is not in danger, but I can accept this kind of thing. Mumu is threatened. In order to protect Yuhi Kurenai, he would rather sacrifice himself and be with a monster like Ito. The girls were all upset, but this time they were more accepting than before. Even Hinata didn't faint this time, she just didn't dare to look at the video straight in the eye. The video continues. Hong was fixed in place in a shameful posture, and could only watch the scene in front of her. Her face was full of grief and anger, and tears could not be controlled. She felt guilty and distressed towards Miu Miu. If she had not brought Miu Miu to Yakumo, this would not have happened. In her opinion, although the man in front of her had Yakumo's face and body, he was a monster after all. Miu Miu's sacrifice was too great. And it was to protect her. She, as a teacher, was useless. Of course, seeing her disciples doing this kind of thing with her own eyes, Hong would inevitably have some physical reactions, which made her even more ashamed and angry. What was unexpected was that in the process of selflessness, Yakumo's own consciousness awakened. In the consciousness space, she and Ito were separated. This was also the first time Yakumo knew about Ito's existence. She stood there in a daze, completely unable to accept it. Hong took the opportunity to call back Yakumo's reason and let her intervene, at least to save Miu Miu. But as Ito began to obtain some of Mumu's life energy, Yakumo's physique gradually strengthened, and Ito was also strengthened. Mumu himself was not affected at all. His life energy was almost inexhaustible. He took advantage of the psychological blow caused by this incident to raise his Sharingan to 3 Magatama. The Sharingan of 3 Magatama is not comparable to 2 Magatama. Even if Ito was strengthened, he was suppressed by Mumu in the illusion space. When Yakumo regained his sanity, he quickly helped Mumu suppress Ito. It was just because Ito and Mumu had that kind of thing. Yakumo didn't kill Ito directly in order to take care of Mumu's feelings, but just sealed it temporarily. Back to reality, Hong immediately cared about the situation of the two disciples, forgetting that his clothes were still erased and reflected in reality. When he noticed the strange look of the two disciples, Mumu had a strange impulse, and Hong was embarrassed and hurriedly looked for something to cover himself. Unfortunately, there is no clothes for Kurenai to wear at Satamigaoka Villa, so she can only use curtains to cover herself, and Mumu went to her house to find a set of clothes. Yamanaka Ino. It is hard to accept this result. Tenta. In fact, Ito is just Yakumo's inner demon, without a physical body. From this point of view, the group leader is not a failure. Yamanaka Ino. Then how do you explain that Yakumo's physical condition has improved? TT. Haruno Sakura. I have a feeling that Yakumo will join the harem in the future. Even Kurenai teacher. Hyuga Hinata. Kurenai teacher is not good. Haruno Sakura. Ha, Hinata, you didn't faint. Your acceptance ability has improved, congratulations. Hyuga Hinata. Uzumaki Karen. I feel it's okay, there is almost no real loss, and Mumu-kun also used this to evolve Sharingan. Apart from feeling a little uncomfortable, the gains are greater than the efforts. Yamanaka Ino. As expected of Karen, if you say so, I can accept it more. Tiantian. That's all I can think of. I didn't expect the group leader to be so popular, and all kinds of accidents have led to the current result. Do you think it's an accident that the four of us marry the group leader at the same time? Yamanaka Ino. If it was an accident, a wide forehead might be inevitable, and this is not a result that can be controlled by subjective consciousness. Haruno Sakura. For some reason, when little Sakura thought about marrying Miu Miu by accident, she felt less resistant. Perhaps after watching the videos these days, she has gradually accepted the fact that she will become one of Miu Miu's harem in the future. So, she is not as obsessed with Sasuke as before. She thinks of Sasuke less and less. The main reason is that Miu Miu is too good and will definitely stand at the top of the ninja world in the future. Such a man is hard to come by. Which woman would not seize the opportunity if she meets one? Let little Sakura cannot take the initiative yet, but if she passively accepts it, she can accept it with peace of mind. The video screen continues. Since that incident, Yakumo has recovered her normal physique. She is not strong, but she is healthy and can use some of her abilities. However, she cannot strengthen her physique through training like others. It seems that she can only maintain the status quo, and it will slowly weaken as time goes by. So the best result can only be to marry Miu Miu and become Miu Miu's person, so that she can continue to strengthen. But since that day, Miu Miu has never come to Satomi Hill Villa again. Yuhi Kurenai came over occasionally and said that Miu Miu had been avoiding her. After all, Kurenai is an adult and has experienced too much cruelty in the ninja world. Although she was ashamed and angry about what happened that day, she quickly adjusted her mentality. No one knows what she thinks in her heart, at least there is no change on the surface. It can't be said that there is no change at all. After that incident, she subconsciously stayed away from the person who had been pursuing her. Asuma, if nothing unexpected happened, Hong might never get married in her life. After Yakumo's request, Hong took the initiative to look for Mumu. She couldn't find him during the day, so she waited in Mumu's house until dark before she saw Mumu coming home. At this time, Mumu hadn't moved to Anko's place yet, but he had been in contact with Anko several times in private. But in the past few days, Mumu hadn't even Anko didn't care. Mumu looked calm on the surface, but Hong could feel that he was still very uneasy inside. So she tried her best to persuade him, giving examples to make sense. Many things in reality are hard to accept, but they have to be faced when they happen. There are too many cruel things in the ninja world. Mumu's situation is nothing at all. Mumu rarely got angry with Hong. In Hong's opinion, he was still too young and couldn't let it go. She brought the topic to herself. Even if something like that happened that day, she could still face Mumu and Yakumo calmly. But Mumu retorted that her situation was completely different from his. Mumu did that kind of thing with Ito in front of her and Yakumo. Yuhi Hong can feeling the pain in Mu's heart. She also felt bad, because Mu was trying to save her. Perhaps because of guilt towards Mu, or perhaps because of a hot-headedness, she asked Mu to do that to her. Would she feel better if she did that? And Mu seemed to have lost his usual calmness and really accepted it. He said that as long as teacher Hong didn't regret it, he could give it a try. Hong actually regretted it right after she finished speaking, but in order to prevent a genius disciple like Mu from being ruined, she felt that sacrificing her body was actually a win, so she didn't take back her words in the end. Hong was very uncooperative at first because of her awkwardness in her heart, but she didn't resist, but gradually the atmosphere was right, and she gradually became proactive. She found that by doing this, her heart was actually very calm, without any resistance, and subconsciously she actually recognized Mu more, recognizing that he was her man. It was just that due to the relationship between the two, Hong didn't dare to admit it at all. Yamanaka Ino. No way. Teacher Hong has really become our sister. Haruno Sakura. I told you. It feels like any woman who comes into contact with Mu will eventually become his wife. Tiantian. I'm used to it now, it's not surprising at all. Yamanaka Ino. But no matter what, I must occupy the most important position in Mu's heart. Haruno Sakura. Hey, it's already like this, haven't you guys recognized the reality? Yamanaka Ino. You're the one who didn't recognize the reality, right? Tiantian. Little Sakura, I'm not saying anything bad about you. If you really don't want to be Mu's woman, no one will force you. But this is Mu's harem group, you have to recognize your position. Yamanaka Ino. You're right, you always say you're not Mu's wife, and you still want to convince us. But you keep staying in the group. While enjoying the benefits brought by the chat group, you're not willing to pay. Haruno Sakura. Uzumaki. Actually, I also want to say that everyone in the group should have decided on Mumu-kun, right? Hyuga Hinata. Tiantian. You should think it over carefully. If it's just for the sake of face, then there's no need. Following the group leader, the future will only get better and better. Except for the fact that there are so many women, the group leader has almost no shortcomings. Tiantian. If you really don't want to be involved with Mumu-kun, leave the group as soon as possible and draw a clear line. Otherwise, even if you regret it later, it's your own business. In my opinion, it will only doubt your character. Yamanaka Ino. Tiantian's words are what I mean. Little Sakura and Hinata, you'd better think it over carefully. Little Sakura has always been rebellious. After being told this by Ino and Tiantian, she almost got angry and left the group directly. But staying in the group these days has gradually made her realize her ordinariness. There are 6 people in the group now. Excluding Anko who has not shown up, among the remaining 5 girls, she is probably the worst in terms of background and qualifications. Even if you don't want to admit it, the fact is the fact, and it has been shown in many aspects. Not to mention, if she quits the group now, how can she compete with Ino and other girls in the group in the future? The only thing that little Sakura doesn't want to lose to is Ino. This has nothing to do with the relationship. Perhaps it is a habit that has been developed from competing since childhood. So facing what Tiantian said to Ino in the group, little Sakura can only remain silent. In fact, she herself has not thought about it now. But Tiantian is right. She keeps shouting that she doesn't want to be Muemu's woman, but she stays in the group and refuses to leave. This is a test of character. Next, it's time to think about it. Is her own future more important, or is the unattainable Sasuke more important? And Hinata also fell silent all of a sudden. At this time, she is more curious and yearning for Naruto, but it's not love. After staying in the group for a few days, her feelings towards Naruto faded a lot. Her situation is completely different from that of little Sakura. Little Sakura can be said to be eating from the bowl and looking at the pot, but Hinata is not mentally prepared. Her character is weak, and she is 13 years old at the time. How can she consider who to marry in the future? It is really difficult for her to choose Miu now. But she also agreed with Tian's words, either she decided to be with Miu or quit the group. I really want to become stronger, Hinata muttered to herself. After asking herself, she soon came up with the answer. The video screen continued. Yuhi Kurenai acted impulsively and did something that could not be undone. Although she did not regret it in her heart, she and Miu were master and apprentice, which was not accepted by the secular world, so she was a little entangled for a while. Fortunately, after this incident, Miu's emotions stabilized a lot, and he felt guilty about her. Yuhi Kurenai saw this and did not regret it anymore. Moreover, things had already happened, so she still had to look forward, which was what she said at the beginning. Kunai asked Miu to keep their relationship secret, but she did like and enjoy the feeling of being with Miu, so she did not draw a clear line with Miu. In private, she is still Hiemu's woman. On the surface, Hong let Miu and Yakumo be together, because only in this way can Yakumo be cured. Hong and Yakumo have discussed this matter, and Yakumo also agreed. Of course, Yakumo definitely doesn't know that Hong came to persuade Miu, but ate Miu before her. Under Hong's persuasion, and in order to cure Yakumo, Miu reluctantly agreed to this matter and went to Satomi Hill Villa with Hong. However, after seeing Yakumo, Hong didn't say a few words. Left first, giving the place to Mumu and Yakumo. Yakumo received Hong's eye signal, and her face turned red like an apple. However, Mumu didn't do it too directly. He took her outside for a walk to relax her mood and asked about Ito's problem. As long as Yakumo's body is fine, Ito will not be able to make trouble again, so there is no need to worry for a short time. And when Yakumo follows Mumu, there will be no need to worry about this problem in the future. She can also draw spiritual strength from Ito, and can completely regard Yakumo as Ito, Jinchuriki. The two chatted and laughed for a long time, and Yakumo had a great liking for Mumu, and they got together naturally in the evening. Afterwards, Mumu confessed his affair with Hong, but Yakumo didn't mind at all, and was even very happy. Yakumo now cares most about Mumu and Hong. She will only be happier if the three of them can be together forever. The screen flashed. Mumu hugged the shy Yakumo on the left, and hugged the helpless Hong on the right. It was obvious that the three of them had completely accepted each other. The screen gradually went black, and the video ended here. Yamanaka Ino. Another happy ending. I'm really used to it now. Tiantian. The group leader is a different existence, different from anyone in the history of the ninja world, otherwise we wouldn't have joined the post-operative palace group. Uzumaki Karen. You're right, Mumu-kun is the best man in the entire ninja world, and he deserves the best. Yamanaka Ino. Karen, when you say that, it seems like we are not worthy of Mumu-kun. Uzumaki Karen. But that's the fact, I feel that way. Tenten. Although that's the fact, you don't have to say it so bluntly, we will become better and better. Hyuga Hinata. Well, everyone, come on. Yamanaka Ino. Hinata, have you made up your mind? Tenten. Good job, I was right about you. Hinata, give me a kiss, mwah. Bye. Hyuga Hinata. I just want to become stronger, I don't want to be the same as before. Yamanaka Ino. We are all the same. Tenten. That's right, Only by following the group leader can we see higher and farther scenery, and our efforts are not in vain. Hyuga Hinata. Yes, in the chat group, Hinata has determined her attitude. She will follow the footsteps of others and firmly regard Miu Miu as the only one in the future. It may be a bit hasty in terms of feelings, but the gains for the future are definitely huge. With the release of future videos one by one, Miu Miu's status in their hearts has also risen. Moreover, there are more and more women involved with Miu Miu in the videos. Several girls quickly reached a consensus that as long as they have time, they will show their presence in front of Miu Miu and win his favor. Sisters should not compete with each other, but help each other and cooperate with each other. Their goal is to try to leave a sufficient position in Miu Miu's heart before Miu Miu has his first woman. If everyone is not too young, they even want to fight for Miu Miu's first time. After reaching this consensus, the girls finally went to bed contentedly. But one of them was insomniac, the little Sakura who was excluded. Little Sakura certainly saw the conversation in the chat group, but she has been lurking silently since Tiantian and Ino talked about her before. Logically, she should make the same choice as Hinata, as this is her best chance to get rid of her civilian status. However, everyone has obsessions. Once she makes a choice, she can no longer have any expectations or luck for Sasuke. Perhaps there is no loss, and the future may be even better. But she just can't bear to give up. Sasuke obviously has formed a team with Sasuke, and all competitors are almost gone. Now she has to give up. It would be the same for anyone. However, little Sakura herself knows that Sasuke doesn't have her in his eyes at all, let alone in his heart. Sasuke's attitude towards Naruto is much better than hers. He keeps chasing after him, just because of the luck in his heart. Although she got lucky in the original work, little Sakura now doesn't know. Maybe I should make a change too. After struggling for a long time, little Sakura finally sighed and accepted her fate. Instead of choosing Miu Miu immediately and firmly, she gave up Sasuke and eliminated distractions to become stronger. As long as she doesn't hold the attitude of being in Sao's camp but her heart is with Han, even if she still doesn't recognize Miu Miu, it's not considered as a betrayal to continue to stay in the group. After thinking this through, little Sakura felt as if a certain shackle on her body was opened, and suddenly she felt much more relaxed. Miu Miu didn't know what little Sakura was thinking, and he didn't care much. But Hinata's choice surprised him and made him very happy. As for the girl's intention to take the initiative to please him, this was expected long ago. Miu Miu, with the attitude of neither taking the initiative nor refusing, just waited for them to come. Today's matter came to an end, and Miu Miu soon fell asleep in Anko's arms. The next day, he was woken up early by Anko, and he had to get up again to make meatballs and dumplings for her breakfast. Miu Miu can also make other foods, and the taste is not necessarily worse than meatballs and dumplings, but Anko just loves these two, no matter what. There is no way, Miu Miu can only make a few more flavors. Who made this woman so happy last night? She would have to work hard for a while, so how could he not spoil her? After feeding Anko, the two of them went their separate ways to do their own things. Through the remote monitoring of the group system, Miu Miu knew that Ino and Tiantian had made breakfast early in the morning and wanted to bring it to him. Unfortunately, they didn't know that Miu Miu had moved yesterday, so he came to nothing. The house was now empty, so they wouldn't wait there foolishly. Just remind the sisters in the group chat to pay attention to Miu Miu's current residence. Miu Miu smiled slightly, ignored it, and went straight to the Anbu team base. Soon, Tian Zhang took Miu Miu to the training ground where he practiced yesterday, and simply checked the results, and then exclaimed, "After yesterday's practice, your control of wood-style chakra has reached a very high level. Even if you don't consider the intensity, even I can't compare to you in terms of chakra control." This is just a short day of practice, and he was obviously a rookie who just graduated from the ninja school. If he continues to practice at this pace, CDCC, Kunyuan will grow much faster than he expected. This is all thanks to the teachings of teacher Tian Zhang. Miu Miu smiled modestly. It has nothing to do with me. It's because you have a good talent and are willing to work hard. 100 shadow clone practice together for a whole day. This is not something that ordinary people can do. Tian Zhang didn't dare to take credit. But even if he was wearing an Anbu mask at this time, Miu Miu could still feel his high emotions. Miu Miu smiled and asked, "Teacher Tianzang, can I start practicing ninjutsu today?" More than enough. Tianzang didn't want to block Miu Miu's idea, and nodded. "I will teach you a few simple exercises first, and if there is still time, I will teach you some more powerful ones." After all, Miu Miu has not been exposed to other ninjutsu except three-body technique. Although the efficiency of learning ninjutsu will be very high after learning nature transformation, Tianzang still needs to confirm Miu Miu's talent in ninjutsu. Miu Miu certainly has no objection to this. He had a hunch that he might start practicing ninjutsu today, so he made preparations in advance. Now Miu Miu has a pair of anti-discoloration contact lenses on his eyes, and can open Sharingan at any time. However, Tenzo's perception ability is still quite strong, so you have to be careful when using it. Hokage Office. After a day of investigation, the third generation finally sorted out Mumu's family tree and matched them one by one. Just looking at the information in his hand, he couldn't believe it for a while, and his hands were shaking. Mumu's father is the grandson of second Hokage Senju Tobarama. If you count it, Mumu should call Tobarama great-grandfather. Then, Mumu's mother's identity is very surprising. She is the cousin of Uchiha Fugaku. Because she secretly fell in love with Mumu's father, and was not tolerated by the Uchiha clan. So she took advantage of an outing mission to fake her death and escape, changed her identity, and lived an anonymous life. Do you think it's over? No. Mumu's grandfather, the son of the second Hokage, married a woman from the Uzumaki clan, and her identity was the direct niece of Uzumaki Mito. So Mumu not only has the blood of the Senju clan, but also the blood of the Uchiha clan and the Uzumaki clan. In summary, Mumu can be regarded as the grandchild of the third generation, and as Tsunade's fourth generation cousin beyond the third generation blood relationship. This is very important. He is a cousin of Sasuke and a distant cousin of Naruto. This identity is simply amazing. When the third generation members first saw this information, they were so shocked that they couldn't even hold the pipe in their mouths. The pipe fell down and burned a hole in the pants, almost hurting Lao Niu Niu. After a long time, the third generation members came back to their senses and were so excited that tears filled their eyes. Shodai, Nadaime, do you know that you have been protecting Konoha? Please rest assured, my lords. Although I have done many wrong things in the past, I will not let you down this time. I will definitely cultivate Miu Miu into a towering tree and inherit the will of fire from my lords. Training ground. At this time, Tianzang's face behind the mask was dull, and his eyes were lifeless. Before the day was over, Miu Miu had already learned all his skills. At first, he planned to symbolically throw a few simple ones to Miu Miu to learn for a day or two. As a result, he had just demonstrated it once, and almost as soon as he finished, Miu Miu had copied it exactly. In fact, the power he displayed was even more powerful than his. It was outrageous. Tianzang didn't believe in evil, and performed one ninjutsu after another. As long as it was below B level, no matter wood style, earth style or water style, Miu Miu didn't need to watch it a second time to perfectly copy it. As for A-level ninjutsu, Miu Miu didn't need to watch it a second time either. He could use it successfully the first time, but the speed was slower and the power was smaller. After he got familiar with it a few times, he soon became a perfect copy, and he was even better than his teacher. This is a monster, Tianzang secretly complained in his heart, but he was also proud of accepting such a monster disciple. So Tianzang simply stopped hiding his skills. As long as Miu Miu mastered a ninjutsu, he would immediately teach the next one. He really wanted to see what the limit of Miu was. In the end, there was this scene in front of us. Before it got dark, Tianzang had already taught nothing. Anyway, he had already used all the skills he knew, and all of them were learned by Miu Miu. In addition, Miu Miu's wood style strength far exceeded his. To some extent, Miu Miu was now stronger than him and had the qualifications to be a Kage. Of course, he had learned and was qualified, but it did not mean that Miu Miu was now a Kage-level strongman. He had learned the ninjutsu and performed it well, but it also depended on the actual application. If you can't apply it flexibly in actual combat, but don't know which ability to use when facing various situations, or choose the wrong ability to deal with, then learning is equivalent to not learning. Let's stop here for today. Tianzang came back to his senses, and didn't know what tone to use to talk to Miu Miu, so he could only sigh, have a good rest at night, and sort out what you learned today, and think about what ability to use in what situation. Starting tomorrow, we will conduct actual combat sparring and apply the mastered abilities to actual combat. When you have mastered it, you can become a master. This is only the second day of training, and you can already consider the issue of becoming a master. Before today, Tianzang really couldn't imagine that there would be such a monster in the world. But when he thought that this monster was cultivated by him, Tianzang's heart was full of joy. Yes, teacher Tianzang. Miu Miu was as humble and polite as ever. This attitude made Tianzang even more satisfied. It's one thing to have strong talent, but if you become arrogant after your strength is improved, it's not worth his trouble to cultivate. Fortunately, Mumu's performance so far has been impeccable to Tianzang. Mumu refused Tianzang's invitation to dinner again and left alone. That is, he has no money now, otherwise he should treat Tianzang to dinner instead. After all, he has plundered all the other people's inventory, and it is too unkind to stare at Tianzang's wallet. Unfortunately, there are no powerful wood-style ninjutsu in Tianzang's inventory, such as wooden golem jutsu, wood dragon technique, tree world advent, but not the great Buddha. If you want to learn these ninjutsu, you may have to go to the third generation. Mumu remembered that in the original work, when Tianzang just started practicing wood-style ninjutsu, Danzo took out a wood-style ninjutsu scroll. I just don't know if Konoha only has that one copy. If the third generation doesn't have it, Mumu may have to fight Danzo in advance. Of course, don't consider these in the short term. As Tenzo said, after learning, you must also know how to use it flexibly in actual combat. The current progress is fast enough, there is no need to aim too high. Let's settle down first and master the existing abilities perfectly. According to the future video fabricated before, Miu Miu should have taken 5 to 6 days to learn all of Tenzo's inventory. But in order to speed up the progress, Miu Miu directly used Sharingan to copy it today. Not to mention, Sharingan is used in learning ninjutsu, which is quite powerful and directly saves Miu Miu 4 or 5 times of time. No wonder Kakashi can get the title of the butt-picking ninja with just a Sharingan given by others. While thinking about these things, Miu Miu habitually opened the chat group. Although it was still early, the 4 flowers of Konoha had completed their daily tasks. After all, they were still performing D-level. Little Sakura has been silent in the group since last night, and basically did not show up today. The other girls chatted happily and were also looking for Miu Miu's traces in their spare time. Unfortunately, none of them met Miu Miu now, and several girls were a little anxious. Miu Miu briefly understood them and ignored them, but he didn't expect to meet Team 7 on the road. They had just finished the mission and were walking back. Kakashi had already separated from them in advance. Naruto suggested going to eat together, but unfortunately Sasuke ignored him, and little Sakura was not in the mood. Huh, aren't you that someone? Naruto was feeling lost when he saw Miu Miu walking towards him. Of course, Naruto had an impression of his classmates. But in the past, he might have ignored him directly because Miu Miu was too invisible. But since awakening wood style, Kunmo's temperament has changed dramatically. Not only has he grown a lot taller, but his appearance has also been optimized. Standing in the crowd, he is like a crane standing out among chickens. It is hard for Naruto not to notice him. However, Naruto only remembered that Mumu was a classmate, but he couldn't even remember his name. Idiot, it's Mumu-kun. Little Sakura looked up and saw Mumu, subconsciously scolded Naruto, and was about to hit him on the head with her fist, but soon she forced herself to hold it back. It's not that she wants to maintain her image in front of Mumu, but she has already decided to change herself. Sasuke, who was about to leave, also noticed this shout from Naruto. Seeing Mumu's changed image, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. However, what Sasuke noticed was that Mumu not only looked different, but his breath also became steady and long, which made him, the first in the grade, feel pressured. What has this guy experienced in the past 2 days? Sasuke was horrified, and his intuition told him that he was no match for Mumu. Because of this, Sasuke directly became hostile to Mumu, and his eyes became unfriendly when he looked at him. Mew Mew, hello, I didn't expect to meet you here. Little Sakura tried to act like a lady, smiling and said, we just finished the mission and are going to eat, do you want to join us? Nice. The opportunity came just in time. Little Sakura waved her fist and shouted. She was so embarrassed in the chat group now, which made her feel even more embarrassed than when she was punished in public when she first joined. Now that she happened to meet Mew Mew, it was a good opportunity to improve her favorability. As long as she could raise the level of the group, she wouldn't have to bother to think about those problems. Raising the level of the group, isn't this also a fair attitude? Ah, little Sakura, didn't you just say? It was the first time that Naruto saw little Sakura showing a gentle expression when facing someone other than Sasuke, and his brain was a little confused for a while. Before he could finish his words, little Sakura immediately interrupted, shut up. Naruto scratched his head, still not quite understanding. But he would only be happy that little Sakura was willing to go eat together. Yoshi. Naruto waved his fist excitedly and said, in this case, I will treat everyone to ramen. Kunxian, you should come too. Sasuke glanced at little Sakura, whose attitude had changed drastically. Although he didn't care much, he was more curious about Mew Mew in his heart. So he also said, I'm going too. Ah, Naruto was confused again. Why are all people so weird today? But forget it, who cares? Ramen, I'm coming. Ming, Sanbaki, soon became happy again and ran directly to the front to lead the way. Mew Mew, who had not yet decided whether to go with them, seemed to have lost the power to refuse. Mew Mew, let's go. Little Sakura smiled gently at Mew Mew again and said, it's rare to meet by chance on the road, this is also a kind of fate. Okay, Mew Mew shrugged and nodded, then let's go together. Speaking of which, he has not tasted Ichiraku ramen since he traveled through time, so this is a good opportunity to try how delicious it is. Coming to the Hokage world, Ichiraku ramen is one of the places you must check in. Sasuke didn't say anything, just followed behind, always looking at Mew Mew with a hidden look. Mew Mew knew Sasuke's character very well, and was not surprised by his behavior, so he didn't care about him. Speaking of which, Mew Mew joined Anbu, right? I have always been curious about what it is like there, can you tell me about it? Little Sakura began to make small talk. Sasuke's pupils shrank slightly. Did this guy join Anbu? Although Sasuke didn't know much about Anbu, he knew that people without certain strength could not join Anbu. And joining Anbu seemed to require some special conditions. That is to say, people who can join Anbu are inherently higher than those who form a team after graduation. But in Sasuke's memory, Mew Mew didn't seem to be very strong. In fact, I'm just a reserve member. Mew Mew spread his hands and said, I have been following a senior teacher for special training these 2 days. I haven't officially joined Anbu yet, so I don't know much about the situation there. But the reason why Anbu is called Anbu is to hide their identity and stay in the dark, so even if I know a lot of things, I can't say more. And, I hope you can keep it a secret for me and don't disclose this matter casually. It turns out to be just a reserve member. After hearing this, Sasuke didn't care so much, but he was still very curious about Mew Mew's strength. Ah, little Sakura exclaimed after realizing it, and said apologetically, sorry, I was just curious for a moment and didn't think too much. It's okay. Mew Mew smiled and said, I'm just a small person now, so I don't have so many taboos. As they talked, the 4 of them soon arrived at Ichiraku Ramen restaurant. As soon as Naruto entered the door, he shouted loudly, ramen. Uncle Shuta, serve us ramen. Oh, it's Naruto, please wait. Shuta replied with a smile and immediately began to prepare. Naruto, have you finished the task? How is it, are you used to being a ninja? Ayame helped by the side and greeted Naruto. Naruto immediately boasted proudly. Of course, with me here, the task is easy, there is no difficulty at all. If it weren't for the arrogant Sasuke dragging us down, we wouldn't have been able to complete the task earlier. The last one, are you talking about yourself? Sasuke walked over first with a dark face. Following closely behind, little Sakura also said with an unhappy face, Naruto, you are so shameless to say that, you have been holding us back. Little Sakura, it's okay for Sasuke to say that, but why don't you even give me some face? Naruto was ruined and immediately hung his head. Shuda and Ayame laughed, but they knew Naruto's character very well and didn't care at all. However, as Miu Miu entered the door, Ayame's eyes lit up immediately, and his face showed a crazy look. Uncle Shuda, there are 4 of us, 1 extra large bowl each, I'll treat you today. Naruto quickly cheered up again. This little blow was nothing to him, he had long been used to it. Shuda smiled and said, okay, since it's Naruto's treat, I'll give you a 20% discount, and give you an extra egg each. Thank you so much, Uncle Shuda. Naruto instantly felt very proud, and immediately raised his head and broadened his chest again. This handsome little brother, my name is Ayame, are you also a Konoha shinobi? Why have I never seen you before? Ayame had already thrown Shuda aside and came to Mumu, and the crazy expression on his face could not be hidden. Little Sakura was a little alert and spoke first. His name is Mumu, and he is in the same class as us. And, Sister Ayame, shouldn't you make our ramen first? Just kidding. Ino and the others couldn't find Mumu anywhere, and now she accidentally met him first. She wanted to take this opportunity to gain more favor from Mumu to improve the group level. How could I let Ayame divert Mumu's attention? But Ayame didn't care about little Sakura's attitude at all. She still looked at Mumu with a crazy expression, and even leaned on the table with her hands on her cheeks, looking at Mumu closely. So your name is Mumu, you are taller than me, and you just graduated from the ninja school. It seems that you have a good talent. Ayame still looked at Mumu with a blurred look. But, do you want to listen to what you are saying? Ayame, come and help quickly, how can you let customers wait for a long time? Even the hand typing couldn't stand it. Oh, okay. Ayame was a little sober at this time, and her face flushed as she looked at Mumu again, and said with a hint of shyness, wait a minute, Mumu-kun, the ramen will be ready soon. Little Sakura was speechless. Now she understood what Ino often said, I'm so angry that it hurts. Although she is not big, she has some. Miu Miu didn't care about it, he just thought it was very interesting. Of course he knew that his current charm was definitely very lethal to ordinary little girls. A chorus itself has a bit of a nympho attribute, it is reasonable for her to fall for his genes. Miu Miu. In order to divert Miu Miu's attention, little Sakura took the initiative to speak. You said that you have been training these 2 days, so your strength must have improved a lot, right? Unlike us who can only do some boring tasks now. Sasuke next to him immediately pricked up his ears when he heard it. He was not interested in other things, but if it came to strength, he would not be sleepy. And because he had an inexplicable hostility towards Miu Miu in his heart, he also wanted to know more. Fortunately, I have gained a lot. Miu Miu smiled and said, compared to when I was in the ninja school, I have made much faster progress. But my situation is different from yours. We usually go alone. Even if the team acts together, we have our own responsibilities and tasks, so personal strength is very important. And you have just formed a ninja team. You will have to advance and retreat together for a long time in the future, so the cooperation between the teams becomes even more important. Now you are still in the running-in period, you need to know each other more. The early D-level mission is also to promote the relationship between the teams, so that you can play better cooperation when you encounter battles in the future. Although little Sakura is not very good in many aspects, her theoretical knowledge is one of the best. She understood Miu Miu's words at once, and she agreed with them deeply, which was completely consistent with what Kakashi taught them. I didn't expect you to know so much. Little Sakura was a little emotional. If there was no chat group, she would not have noticed Miu Miu at all. In the past, I only had Sasuke in my mind. Even if I noticed Miu Miu, I would not have realized that he was so outstanding. Now that I have let go of my obsession, I have indeed discovered many things that I had not discovered before. Just based on this point, little Sakura feels that she has grown a lot, and at the same time she feels that she was too stupid before. Naruto is still waiting for his ramen. This topic is like listening to a book of heaven to him, and he can't listen to it at all. But Sasuke found that he seemed to have chosen the wrong major. He wanted to be alone and improve his personal strength. What's the matter with playing house with the team and cooperating with each other? Seeing Mu's current appearance, it is obvious that he has made a huge improvement after joining Anbu. Mu, can I join Anbu? Sasuke interrupted and asked without hesitation. Sasuke-kun, you. Little Sakura was shocked and subconsciously wanted to stop him. But soon she endured it again. She now has to change her previous thoughts and treat Sasuke as a normal teammate. Mumu glanced at Sasuke. To be honest, he didn't want to pay attention to such an attitude according to his personality. However, for future development, he had already decided to establish a gentle and humble personality in front of others. So even though he was a little unhappy, he still smiled and replied, "It was just a coincidence that I was able to join. Most people who want to join must at least reach Chunin first. Sasuke-kun, if you are interested in us, you can first adapt to the ninja team while working hard to improve your strength. When you are promoted to Chunin, I will explain the conditions for joining to you. As long as you meet the standards, we will not refuse anyone here." Sasuke opened his mouth and wanted to question Mumu, whether he looked down on him and deliberately blocked him. Mumu was able to join Anbu right after graduating from the ninja school, so why can't he? The Uchiha clan can be compared with ordinary people. But he was not familiar with Mumu after all, and the two of them were almost the first contact. Mu was able to tell him this, which was already a courtesy. What position did he have to question Mu? Little Sakura gave him a subtle look and advised, "Sasuke-kun, let's talk about this later. Mu just told us to keep it a secret. It's really not appropriate to talk about this in public." Little Sakura, who was clear-headed, noticed that Kunwo always used more obscure words to replace Anbu. It's not that Anbu can't be discussed openly, but it's important to keep the identity hidden. What Sasuke said just now, others knew that Mu was Anbu, so how could he hide his identity? Sasuke also realized that he was reckless, but with his arrogant personality, he would never admit that he was wrong. He just snorted and got upset with an ugly face. He secretly decided to join Anbu, and the first thing to do was to advance to Chunin as soon as possible. Even if he starts a little slow now, he will definitely catch up later. This is the confidence of Uchiha. Little Sakura gave Mu an apologetic look. In fact, she shouldn't have mentioned Mu. Sasuke is a bit jealous. Maybe he is too outstanding and can't stand people who are better than him. Little Sakura used to pursue Sasuke blindly, but now she realizes this. Compared with Mumu, Sasuke is far behind, at least in terms of how to behave. He is more like a child who has not grown up. No wonder Mumu is so popular with so many girls. Little Sakura now fully understands what it means to be one way in school and another way in society. Fortunately, the ramen was ready at this time, interrupting the somewhat awkward atmosphere. Ayame only served Mumu noodles, and continued to lean on the opposite side with her hands on her cheeks, looking at him infatuatedly. "Mumu-kun, our ramen is of guaranteed quality and quantity, and it ranks first in the entire ninja world. You must try it. If you have any comments or suggestions, just tell me, and I will try my best to improve it to your satisfaction." Quote. Shoda saw this and couldn't help but secretly shook his head. It seems that his little girl has reached the age of having an affair. He glanced at Mu and thought that she was willing to get along with Naruto, so her character should be acceptable. As for other aspects, we have to observe. However, the three little ones in Team 7 are only in front of him, and Sanshi is directly several levels weaker. It seems that this Mu is really outstanding and can be considered. It's a pity that he is too young. If he is the same age as Naruto, he will be 4 years younger than a chorus. And he is a ninja, I don't know if he can look down on ordinary people like them. Shoda, as a chorus's old father, is also worried about his daughter's happiness. Of course, Mu didn't know this. Not only did he not care about a chorus attitude, but he was secretly happy in his heart. He first tasted the ramen in the bowl, drank a sip of soup, and then gave a thumbs up and said, "Sister Chorus is right, this ramen is really great. I am a rather picky person, but I can't find any faults now." Callis was so happy that she smiled and said, "If you like it, please come often in the future. I will try to learn more different flavors and make sure you never get tired of it." "No problem." Mu agreed immediately. Little Sakura watched from the side with a sour taste in her mouth, but she didn't know how to interrupt. Even if she wanted to get closer to Miu Miu, she couldn't do many things in front of other people. And if she knew how to please men, she wouldn't be so annoying to Sasuke. As a result, she could only watch Miu Miu eating ramen while talking and laughing with Ayame. Fortunately, her trip was not in vain. She had more contact with Miu Miu. Even if she couldn't improve her good impression, the two sides became more familiar with each other, and it would be more natural to meet again in the future. After eating and drinking, Sasuke, who was worried, left first without even saying hello. Naruto was also satisfied after eating ramen. After paying the bill, he said hello to little Sakura and Miu Miu and left as well. Miu Miu couldn't help but feel amused. Did Naruto really come here just to eat ramen? And leave after eating ramen? No wonder in the original book he had the right time, right place, and right people, but still couldn't catch up with little Sakura. This makes sense. Ah, why are there only two of us left? Little Sakura looked at Miu Miu in a somewhat stupid way. Sakura was yelling, "Nice. This is the perfect time." Before Miu Miu could speak, little Sakura said, "Thanks for your care the other day. I had dinner at your house, and I've been feeling embarrassed. How about we go to the commercial street in front, and I'll treat you to snacks, as a way of repaying you." Miu Miu hesitated for a moment. He had nothing to do at home now, and Anko hadn't come back yet, so he nodded in agreement. Little Sakura did not give him a good impression, but no matter what, she was the first heroine in the original work, and she was still very charming in the later period. She was not hated from the beginning to the end, nor was she charming first and then hated. Since she could slowly get better, why couldn't he accept it? Besides, she had begun to change now, and Miu Miu could feel it completely, so it was not impossible to give her a chance. When little Sakura saw that Miu Miu agreed, she was immediately very happy, so she let her take this opportunity to surpass Ino, Tiantian and others in one fell swoop, and see if they are still embarrassed to say anything about her. Soon, the two came to the commercial street, and before they took a few steps, little Sakura's face immediately sank. The reason is very simple. Ino and Tiantian were arm in arm, just walking over from the opposite side. When they saw Miu Miu and little Sakura, they were obviously stunned for a moment, and then their eyes lit up almost at the same time. Miu Miu-kun. Group. Miu Miu-kun. Ino and Tiantian immediately let go of each other's hands, ran to Miu Miu's side, and each hugged Miu Miu's arm. It seemed that they didn't see little Sakura, and he even pushed her away directly. Miu Miu-kun, did you move? I went to your house this morning and it was empty. Ino complained like a spoiled child. You moved without telling me. Don't you want to see me again? Tiantian also said, I specially made a lot of breakfast for you with Ino, to repay you for treating us to hot pot last time, but I didn't expect it to be a waste. The two girls swayed their bodies as they talked, as if they were spoiled. I don't know if it was intentional or unintentional, but they kept dawdling in front of Miu Miu, basically taking advantage of him. Well, what is certain is that Ino is indeed a little older than Tiantian, but only a little bit. Sorry. Miu Miu was secretly happy, but he remained calm on the surface. He said with a hint of apology, because the matter happened rather suddenly, we started moving as soon as we decided, so we didn't inform you in advance. I thought that since we are all from the same village, it would be easy for us to meet each other. It won't be too late to talk about it when we meet. Ino seemed a little angry, humming, but you made me worry for a long time. I thought something happened to you, and I couldn't find you after a long time. This is a little goblin who knows how to tease people. Miu Miu was sure in his heart that these two people were deliberately doing it to him. I didn't expect that they had just reached a consensus in the group last night, and now they immediately took action, and they didn't restrain themselves at all. This is already a naked declaration that there is a love affair between them and Miu Miu. But in fact, there hasn't been anything that could cause misunderstanding before, right? Thinking so, Miu Miu naturally wouldn't push them away. He smiled and said, then to express my apology, I'll treat you to milk tea. Milk tea, what is that? Ino and Tiantian showed puzzled expressions at the same time. In this ninja world, there is no such drink as milk tea. It's a very delicious drink, I believe you will like it. Miu Miu did not explain too much. Because there is a foodie Anko at home, he plans to make all kinds of snacks and desserts. See if there are any foods that Anko likes besides meatballs and dumplings. The method of making milk tea is relatively simple, and he has prepared all the ingredients. He originally wanted to make it for Anko to try in the evening. Now it's just in time, let them try it too. Since Mu Mujun said so, I will try it reluctantly. Ino said hypocritically, but the hand holding Shuemu's arm became more tight. Tenten also said with a smile, I believe in Mumu-kun's taste. If you say it's good, it must be excellent. Mumu turned around and called out to little Sakura, who was squeezed aside, little Sakura, come along too. Also, do you want to call Hinata again? Since the four girls all want to improve his favor, let's do it together. Let's see if there are too many people to relax, or if there are too many people and the atmosphere is right, they will relax more. In any case, it's a win for Shion. Hey, wide forehead, you're here too. I'm sorry I didn't see you just now, Ino said with a hint of sarcasm. Last night, little Sakura clearly advised them to face reality, so why did she run to Mumu again? Little Sakura was so angry that she gritted her teeth, but she was indeed in the wrong in this matter. Otherwise, she would have exploded when Ino pushed her away just now, and now she can only swallow her anger. A good opportunity to improve favorability is now completely destroyed, it's really hateful. I think so, but little Sakura followed. There was no other way. If she didn't go and let the other three people win Muemu's favor, then even Ino and Tien's group level would surpass her, and she would have even less status in the group. Don't worry about Hinata. We just agreed to meet in front. Tien took advantage of the break to explain to Mu. But in fact, she was crazy about Hinata in the group, asking Hinata to hurry to the front and wait for them. Fortunately, Hinata was nearby and hadn't returned home yet. She rushed over immediately after receiving the message. Only Karen, who was far away in Kusagakur village, shed tears of envy and jealousy. Anko naturally saw the message in the group. Knowing that the 4 flowers of Konoha went to Muemu's new home, which was her home, to drink milk tea. Anko didn't care. She was very open about matters between men and women. As long as Mu gave her meatballs, she would say anything about Nagisa. As for milk tea, what is that? It's not as delicious as meatballs. Forget it, Wong. Okay, let them get close to each other, I will go back later. Then, let's go find Hong. I don't know when Hong will join the chat group. On the other side, Mu and others quickly met Hinata and returned home together. You guys sit down first, I'll go get ready, it won't take too long. Mu took them to the living room on the 2nd floor, not afraid that they would find out that this is Anko's house, let them do whatever they want. Hey, wide forehead, what do you mean? When Mu entered the kitchen, Ino immediately looked at little Sakura as if questioning. Although Tiantian and Hinata didn't say it clearly, little Sakura also understood their eyes. If little Sakura still can't be as firm in her beliefs as them, I'm afraid she will be excluded from the small group. Because the group has a video live broadcast, Karen on the other side can also see it. We are all sisters who advance and retreat together, we can't always have one person who is out of touch. Chapter 71. Little Sakura opened her mouth, but couldn't say the decision she had made in her heart. Why? Everyone was selected by the group system and then joined the chat group. No one is superior to anyone else. Why do they join hands to ask her? Little Sakura has a rebellious mentality. If Ino and the others talk in a negotiating tone, she can still say it. But now this attitude gives people a feeling of forcing the palace, and little Sakura is not happy to say it. Little Sakura, don't blame us for speaking directly and having a tough attitude. Everyone means the same thing. Tiantian seemed to see that little Sakura was a little angry, and said bluntly, this chat group exists relying on the group owner. We must defend his interests. Not only you, but all of us are the same. Quote, if you want to stay in the group and enjoy the benefits brought by the chat group, you must recognize your position and strengthen your beliefs. Now that everyone has just joined the group, there are not many videos to watch. The gain effect is not great, but what about the future? There will be more and more videos in the future, and there will be more and more secrets involved in the future. In addition to the members of our group, the one who is most involved is the group owner. We know so many of his secrets. If he has other intentions, how should we deal with him at that time? Although the chat group has a punishment function, No one can guarantee that will not risk being punished and will definitely harm the group owner, or even think of dying with him. The chat group punishment function is one thing, and the rest of us group members must be a barrier outside. Because of this, whether it is the current group members or those who may join in the future, if we cannot reach this consensus, they are our common enemies. They had discussed these words once last night, and they were just rough ideas at the time. After thinking all day today, Tiantian has basically sorted out the clues and got Ino and others' approval. Either you firmly follow Muemu's belief and enjoy the benefits of the chat group with peace of mind, or you can quit the chat group and return to your previous life. If you don't choose either of the two, you will become the public enemy of other sisters in the group. Although Tiantian and Ino always clamor to compete for Miu, in fact, they don't have a firm belief in their hearts, and they are more just talking nonsense. But with the implementation of this thought, even if they were not firm before, they must be firm now. Little Sakura couldn't help but fall silent after hearing this. She knew that what Tiantian said, CDCG, was right. There are not many people joining the chat group now, and there are not many future scenes that can be seen. As time goes by, the situation will become more and more complicated. If we don't reach a consensus now, no one can tell what will happen in the future. However, it always feels embarrassing to let little Sakura mix with them like this, and she soon thought of the loopholes in these words. Little Sakura showed a hint of sneer on her face and said sarcastically, "It sounds good, but don't forget that everyone is only 13 or 14 years old, and can't be Mu's woman at all. No matter how firm your belief is, what can you do? That Mitarashi Anko, Azuki Yugao, and Yuhi Kurenai teacher, they will all rush to the front. Besides them, I believe there will be more in the future. There are many adult women. Muemu's charm is so great, I don't know how many more there will be in the future. How can you be sure that you can seize the right to speak in front of these adults, these special Jonin, and even the elite Jonin and cage-level strongmen who may appear in the future? Just by making friends with Miu and having a meal with him, our group level has been raised from LV1 to LVR. What if we become Muemu's woman? The improvement will be even greater. Now they don't know that Anko is already Muemu's woman in reality. According to the group system settings, Anko ate Muemu's meatballs yesterday morning, and the group level should be raised from LV1 to LV3. She slept with Miu last night, and the level will be raised from LV3 to LV6. Group system gain effect, 450%. However, Anko has not sent a word, an expression, or a symbol in the chat group, which means she has not yet fully joined the network. So her group level experience value is now in a cumulative state, without a direct breakthrough or LV privileges. I don't know how Anko will feel when she finds out. At this time, little Sakura was just being stubborn and started to refute a few words, but she became more and more fluent and hit the point. These problems were indeed something that Tenten had not considered before. Tenten frowned and thought hard, but could not think of a solution. There was no way. They were too weak now. Even if they gathered together, they were not as good as a special Jonin. Maybe it was because of this that Mitarashi Anko, who had been in the group for 2 days, didn't say a word from beginning to end. She didn't take them seriously at all. So even if they all reached a consensus, what did it matter? Anko would still do what she wanted. Since they couldn't even control Anko, why did they force little Sakura to make a choice? Is it because little Sakura is easy to bully? Then they would be bullies who only bully the weak and fear the strong. Bang! Ino suddenly slammed the table and stood up, scaring everyone else. What's there to worry about? Ino said angrily. We are the first group to join, so we have the biggest advantage. Isn't it just a special Jonin? What's the big deal? I don't believe that with the group system's buff effect, we can't beat her if we unite. Calm down. Jingbao, calm down, we are not going to fight. Tiantian hurriedly pulled Ino to sit down. Tiantian turned around and said, but what Jingbao said is not unreasonable. Our group level is in the leading state, and the group gain effect is also greater. Hinata has 300%. If we unite, even the special Jonin can't ignore our opinions. And now, we are all trying to improve the group level. As long as we keep leading, not only will our strength be strengthened, but we can also use the improved talents to speed up our training speed, and we will always surpass them. Little Sakura subconsciously retorted. we have a gain effect, and others will also have it after joining the group. Adults can sleep with us, and the group level will only increase faster. In fact, little Sakura has already agreed with Tiantian's statement, and she can't really quit the group or oppose Tiantian and others. But she is just stubborn by habit, and it is impossible for her to say soft words easily. Ino, who had calmed down a little, stood up again and said angrily, "Who said that only adults can sleep with you? Aren't you worried that your group level will be surpassed? Now I'm going to make a sample for you." After saying that, he rushed directly to the kitchen regardless of Tiantian's obstruction. "What are you talking about? Why do you sound so excited? Make a sample. What sample?" Just at this moment, Miu Miu came out with a tray. Ino got excited for a moment, and the momentum she had just built up instantly disappeared when Miu Miu came out. No, we were just discussing some topics between girls." Ino's expression was a little stiff, and a little unnatural flashed across her face, and she directly changed the subject and said, "Miu Miu, just call me when you are done, just let us do this little thing." Seeing her nervous and flustered expression, Miu Miu couldn't help but laugh. Miu Miu had just seen their conversation through the chat group. And he also found that Anko, who had finished work and ran to bother Shiraihong, was also silently peeking at the screen and laughing at these little girls for being too naive. Of course, Anko didn't mean any harm, she just thought it was more fun to peek at the screen this way. Once you show up in the group, you may not see this interesting scene. It's just a small matter. Miu Miu put the tray on the table, handed a cup to each of the girls, and said with a smile, "Try it, this is my special milk tea, you can't drink it anywhere else." "Really? Haha." Ino had an awkward smile on her face. The little Sakura sitting opposite her gave her a contemptuous look, as if saying, "Didn't you want to make a sample? Why did it suddenly happen?" Ino was almost stimulated and planned to do something. But at this time, Tiantian suddenly shouted exaggeratedly, "Wow, this is too delicious." It turned out that Tiantian had taken the lead in tasting the milk tea. The fragrant milky aroma and the sweetness of the tea mixed together, interweaving a strange taste in the mouth. Tiantian's eyes lit up, and he said with surprise, "This tastes really great, I like it very much." As he said that, Tiantian couldn't help but drink a few more mouthfuls, and his face showed an expression of enjoyment. "Is it really that exaggerated?" Little Sakura was skeptical, then took a sip, and was soon conquered by the taste of the milk tea. Hinata had already taken several sips and was also very surprised, but she didn't make any sound and just enjoyed it silently. Ino was actually very greedy. Looking at the expressions of the others, you can tell that the milk tea must taste good. However, the other three girls were all paying attention to the milk tea at this time, and Yuno didn't want to miss this opportunity. So she quietly pulled the corner of Miu Miu's clothes and winked at him to leave with her. Although Miu Miu didn't know what Ino wanted to do, he was looking forward to it in his heart and naturally wouldn't refuse. The two of them left the living room and came to the room together, one after the other. When Tiantian and the others drank a few sips in a row and drew their attention back, they were shocked to find that Miu Miu and Ino had actually walked away. "The three of you looked at me, I looked at you, and stared at each other." It was Tiantian who first discovered the traces of Miu Miu and Ino and signaled in the direction of the room with his eyes. The three of them quietly got up, slowly moved over, and then lay down by the door and listened to the wall. "Ino, do you have anything to say? Is it that milk tea doesn't suit your taste? Then I'll make something else next time." Miu Miu pretended to be confused and said, "No." Ino shook her head and said, "I haven't drunk the milk tea yet, and as long as it's made by Miu Miu, I will definitely like it." "Then what are you doing?" Miu Miu's face was full of confusion. Ino suddenly came forward, hugged Miu Miu from the front, put her arms around his waist, and leaned her head against him. "Miu Miu, I want to tell you that I like you." Ino's voice was trembling, and it could be heard that she was very nervous, but she still said the words firmly. But from the perspective that Miu Miu couldn't see, her whole face was so red that it seemed to be dripping with blood. Although he couldn't see it, Miu Miu could feel it. After Ino finished saying this, her heart started beating wildly, at least 3 times faster than usual. "Sorry, Ino." Miu Miu gently pushed Ino away. "Are you going to reject me?" Ino's face suddenly changed. She had already taken the initiative, but Miu Miu just pushed her away. "No, You misunderstood. Miu Miu hurriedly explained. It's just that you were so sudden, I was not mentally prepared at all. And why is this? We just met these few days and don't know each other well yet. Ino was slightly relieved after hearing this. It would be better if she didn't reject him directly. Perhaps because of this interruption, Ino was not so nervous. Now what she has to do is to convince Miu Miu first. Even if she can't make Miu Miu accept her immediately, she must leave a deep impression first. So, she looked at Miu Miu seriously and said, "No reason, I like you, no matter what kind of person you are, I just know that I like you very much, very much." The three girls who were eavesdropping outside the door widened their eyes, looked at each other, and secretly gave Ino a thumbs up in their hearts. Ino is really worthy of it, only she dares to do such a thing. Even if she claims to be the eldest sister every day, I am afraid she can't do such a thing. You make me embarrassed. Miu Miu looked shy and embarrassed, and was a little at a loss. Ino knew she had succeeded halfway when she saw that Miu Miu had no resistance or disgust. She also knew that she couldn't let Miu Miu calm down at this time, otherwise all her efforts would be wasted. So Ino mustered up her courage, pushed Miu Miu onto the bed, and kissed him. There was no other way. She was not tall enough, and she couldn't kiss him even if she stood there. Even if she stood on tiptoes, she could only kiss Miu Miu's chin at most, which would be funny. Ino was also desperate, and didn't care how to face it later. She would just do it first. At this time, the three little ones outside the door all covered their mouths tightly with their hands, fearing that they would make the slightest sound. Everyone admired Ino's bold performance, and even little Sakura was completely convinced at this time. Karen, who saw this scene through the live video, muttered to herself. If it were her, she would definitely be bolder than Ino. Haha, you're quite courageous. Someone who was pestering Yuhi Kurenai to play around Enko suddenly exclaimed. What do you mean by courage? Hong was stunned for a moment, not understanding Enko's sudden words. Enko grabbed a handful of her body with a smile, and said, I mean, is your place inflated? It's actually bigger than mine. Enko is just round, but in terms of size, it is still inferior to Hong. Hong rolled her eyes and said unhappily, what's good about being big? Being a ninja will only make you a burden, so I usually tie you up. Quote. This is not good, it is said that it will be easily deformed. Enko said seriously. It's okay now that you are young, but you will definitely regret it when you are old. Is it like you, swinging left and right when you go faster? That will be exhausting. Hong rolled her eyes again. Better to be a little tired than deformed. Enko muttered, and then directly said, no, you are not allowed to tie it again in the future, for the future happy life. Yes, for Miu Miu's future happy life. Stop it, you female hooligan. Hong let out a cry, and soon the two of them were in a mess again. Ding! Congratulations to group member Yamanaka Ino, the level has been upgraded from LV2 to LV3. The gain effect has been increased from 250% to 300%. The chat group system sent a prompt, and the girls also showed expressions of, as expected. If you want to upgrade the group level, you have to get closer to Miu. If you want to get closer to Miu Miu, the easiest thing is to involve emotional behavior. After tasting the sweetness, Ino seemed to be encouraged and seemed to want to go further with Miu Miu, but was stopped by Miu Miu. They are all watching outside. Facing Ino's doubtful and aggrieved eyes, Miu Miu pointed to the door of the room. He himself didn't care. Anyway, he didn't take the initiative or refuse. No matter what happened, he just had to take responsibility. But it would be interrupted at any time in the middle, and it would be neither good nor bad in the end. It's better not to start, otherwise he will be uncomfortable. 8, 2, 3, Ino subconsciously glanced outside the door. Although Tiantian and the others had retracted their heads at the first time, how could the perception ability of ninjas be avoided like this? Ino's pretty face turned red. She was too immersed in it just now and forgot where she was for a moment. She hurriedly got up from Miu Miu, sorted out her appearance, and was about to run away. Just as she turned around, she seemed to realize something and looked back at Miu Miu again, suppressing her shame. Miu Miu, you haven't replied to me yet. Ino looked at Miu Miu steadily, and she didn't avoid it no matter how shy she was. Whether it was for the status in the group or to grab a place in Miu Miu's heart, she had to take the lead, and she couldn't be taken advantage of for nothing. Miu Miu raised his hand, hugged Ino into his arms again, turned over and put himself on top. How could I not like a girl as cute as you? Miu Miu didn't answer directly, but gave an answer that was enough to make others imagine, and then lowered his head. This time he took the initiative. As a scumbag, he often doesn't take the initiative or refuse. But once he is set up, he should let the other party see hope, but it's better to be ambiguous. In this way, she thought Miu Miu had expressed his position, but in fact Miu Miu didn't say anything. After a while, Yi once again lay in Miu Miu's arms with a shy face. However, she, who had just upgraded her group level to LV3, did not receive any system prompts. Let's go out for milk tea. It won't taste so good when it's cold, Miu Miu said to Ino in his arms. Okay, Ino was almost obedient at this time, and naturally listened to Miu Miu. When the two of them were ready and walked out of the door holding hands, Tiantian and the other two had already returned to the sofa and sat down. While drinking milk tea, they chatted enthusiastically to prove that they were very busy now. At this time, Ino was no longer as flustered as before, but with a hint of pride. She was ahead of the others, and now she should be the big sister in the group. Miu Miu pulled Ino over and sat down, and said to the girls, "How is it? Do you like the taste of this milk tea?" He didn't mention anything about him and Ino at all. As long as he was not embarrassed, others would be embarrassed. The girls were too embarrassed to ask further questions, and they all said that the taste of this milk tea was excellent and it was the best drink they had ever tasted. Let me try it too. Ino took her milk tea and took a sip, and her eyes lit up immediately. It's really delicious, I like this taste. Can you give me an extra cup? I want to take it back for Hanabi to try, Hinata said with an embarrassed expression. However, Miu Miu, who had just glanced at the chat history, knew that she wanted to leave it for Karen. Don't worry, there is still a lot of milk tea. Just tell me how much you want to take, and I will make a few more cups for you. Miu Miu would naturally not refuse. And he really wanted Hanabi to taste the milk tea, so he prepared to let Hinata take 4 cups back. 1 cup for Hanabi, 1 cup for Hyuga Natsu, 1 cup for Hinata's mother, and 1 cup for Hinata herself. Since Hinata was given 4 cups, others naturally had a share, and everyone got 4 cups. As for who gave the extra ones to Karen, it had nothing to do with Miu Miu. Perhaps because of what happened in the room just now, the atmosphere was a bit awkward, so everyone didn't chat for long. After Miu Miu packed the milk tea for them to take back, they all got up and said goodbye. But what Miu Miu didn't expect was that Tiantian came back before he waited for Anko to come back. Miu Miu, I saw what you did with Ino just now. Tiantian had a teasing expression on her face, but a faint pink still appeared on her little face. So, Miu Miu looked at her leisurely and asked, do you want to threaten me with this? Tiantian took a deep breath, jumped up and hugged Miu Miu's neck, hanging her body on Miu Miu. How could it be? I also like Miu Miu, so I want to try it too. Tiantian said. Her heartbeat was obviously accelerating, and she closed her eyes nervously and expectantly. Miu Miu was very happy in his heart. As expected, competition is the driving force. Although Tiantian called her Jingbao affectionately, she, who claimed to be the eldest sister, naturally couldn't be suppressed by Ino. After thinking about it, she decided to take the initiative. Fire prevention, theft prevention and bestie prevention are the golden sayings in any world. Faced with Tiantian's active pursuit, Miu Miu was of course not polite and copied everything he had done to Ino before. However, Tiantian wanted to suppress Ino and restore her prestige as the eldest sister, so of course she had to pay more than Ino. Not only did she turn the passive into the active, but she was also like a peeled egg, and finally ate meatballs at Miu Miu's house. Ding! Congratulations to group member Tiantian, the level has been upgraded from LV2 to LV4. The gain effect has been increased from 250% to 350%. The sudden prompt sound of the group system shocked the other girls. Yamanaka Ino. Little Tiantian, you actually stole the house. At Tiantian. Haruno Sakura. I didn't expect that Tiantian was the most scheming, your character in my heart collapsed directly. Hyuga Hinata. Uzumaki Shanglin's sad face Ko. Tiantian just drank some beauty and skin care drinks, which fascinated her more than the taste of milk tea just now, so she didn't care about the chat group. Ignoring Ino, who was tagging her crazily in the group, Tiantian hugged Mumu tightly, with an intoxicated and happy expression on her face. Mumu-kun, I may never be able to leave you again. Tiantian buried her head in Mumu's arms and murmured, I won't ask you to have only me, but can you promise me that you will never abandon me no matter what? After watching so many future videos, how could she still have the mind to monopolize Mumu? If she wanted to monopolize her, she might end up with nothing. In this case, she would settle for the second best, seize the opportunity, and get Mumu's promise first. And Tiantian's request was not high to begin with, so Mumu naturally agreed. Don't worry, as long as you don't betray me, I will always make you happy. Regarding Tiantian's behavior of stealing the house, it must have been condemned by the sisters in the group. Tiantian didn't know what she had a private chat with Ino, but she quickly settled it with Ino, and the relationship between the two seemed to become closer. As for Karen, Tiantian promised her to send all the 4 cups of milk tea given by Miu Miu, and Karen also had no objection. After settling these two, Hinata basically didn't have to worry, just coax her a few words. Little Sakura, sorry, it's not sure if she is in their camp. Don't worry about it at all. As a result, little Sakura was very angry, and she almost learned from Tiantian to steal the house. But not to mention that everyone else became cautious. Now it was dark, it was not appropriate to run over again, and little Sakura could only look for another opportunity in anger. In fact, after Ino and Tiantian had proofread in advance, Hinata might still be a little shy, but little Sakura's heart had been completely shaken. Not to mention the question of whether she is willing to be with Miu Miu in the future. At least there is one thing Ino and Tiantian said is right. After enjoying the benefits brought by the chat group, she had to pay a little to feel at ease. And she couldn't watch Ino get too proud. Now, except for Karen, her level was the lowest. Karen was not in Konoha. With Karen's personality, little Sakura had no doubt that as long as she was allowed to contact Miu Miu, the group level would be maxed out in a short time. As for Anko, she could rise quickly as long as she slept with him. Little Sakura looked around and came to a conclusion. If she continued to be stubborn, even if she didn't take the initiative to quit the chat group, she would have less and less status in the future, and might even be isolated. So, how to pay for Miu Miu and to what extent, was the problem she had to consider at present. Not to mention the girls, Miu Miu was sitting opposite Anko with a half smile on his face. Did you mess around with someone when I was away? Anko asked knowingly, pretending that she found out through some traces at home. In fact, she knew what happened before through the chat group. When the 4 girls of Konoha were together, they were live streaming, and their daily secrets were exposed in the chat records. Of course, Anko didn't mind Mumu's extravagance, nor did she mind how many women he had. Mumu knew her little thoughts very well, and she just wanted to take advantage of Mumu's title as his first woman to get more benefits from him, such as meatballs and dumplings. Mumu pulled her over, hugged her in his arms and loved her hard. But even so, Anko still couldn't forget her original intention. Don't think I will let you go easily like this, I won't buy it. Anko stared at Mumu breathlessly. Mumu smiled dumbly, and a bunch of meatballs appeared in his hand like a magic trick, and said with a smile, what about this? My newly developed chive meatballs. Give me 10 bunches, and I won't pursue it. Anko's eyes lit up, and he immediately snatched the bunch of meatballs. The outside was fried crispy, and the inside was soft and sticky. Delicious. Anko was quite satisfied, with a satisfied look on his face. Miu Miu held her and let her sit on his lap, one hand rolling the ball, the other hand feeling the silky fishnet stockings. Did anyone tell you that you have become more beautiful today? Miu sighed secretly in his heart. The physical condition he set for himself in the future video is really powerful. It's only once, but Anko's face is like a beauty filter, and her skin is more moist and smooth. Anko said in a vague voice while eating meatballs. Everyone who sees me says this is the first sentence, but I don't feel it at all. I just feel that my body has become lighter and the hidden injuries on my body are gone. Hong also asked me how I did it. I didn't do anything. I told her that I found a man and it was my man who brought about the change. If she is envious, I can lend you to her. Enko never cared about appearance, otherwise she wouldn't have become a fat ant in the later part of the original book. Talking to her about makeup and beauty is like talking to a cow. However, she can still feel that her physical condition has been strengthened. After all, she is a special Jonin. So Enko was serious when she told Hong that she wanted to lend Miu Miu out. Even if there was no future video, she didn't care at all if she just borrowed a man between her best friends. Miu Miu understood Enko's thoughts. He couldn't help but laugh and cry when he heard it. He pinched her fair face and said unhappily, "It's okay for you to lend me out, but you can't lend me to others, otherwise I will let you experience the taste of the cane." "Don't worry." Enko waved her hands and said nonchalantly, "I'm not stupid. Although that kind of thing is comfortable, it is not something that any man can bring. Compared with that kind of thing, I prefer the meatballs you make." Miu Miu believed these words, and he was confident in his ability. He had left a hidden hand in the future video. The women who had been with him would no longer be interested in other men. So after Shi Yan followed him, she separated directly from Ji Guang. After Hong followed him, she kept a distance from Asuma. "Then you mentioned to that bestie that you lent me to her. What did she say?" Miu Miu turned and asked about this curiously. Enko threw an expression of, "I knew you were this kind of person," but she didn't mind. "Of course she slapped me. My butt still hurts." Enko pouted and said, "She is different from me. She has never met you. How could she agree to such a thing? But I can see that she is really interested in the changes in me. If she doesn't have to do that kind of thing, she might try it. I'm sorry, I'll help you rub it." Miu Miu moved her to another position. Enko half closed her eyes and enjoyed it while saying, "There will be a chance. Anyway, I can't bear you alone. I will find a chance to help you deal with Xian and Hong. From now on, we will all be our own people, hee. In this way, they are relatives, which is more reliable than the relationship between besties and good friends." Miu Miu reminded. "Then don't do it like yesterday. If it backfires, you won't be able to cry even if I don't help you rub your butt." "I'm not that stupid." Enko snorted. The reason why she treated Shi Yan like that was because she was misled by the future video. Why not use such a convenient method? But she is a special Jonin after all, and she thought it through later. The situation is different, and the direction of things will naturally be different. This really can't be blamed on the future video, it can only be said that she thinks too simply. But even so, Enko has not given up. After 2 days, when Shi Yan's anger has subsided, she will go to Shi Yan again and show her current appearance and figure to make her jealous. Once again, Enko cried and begged for mercy, and then fell asleep from exhaustion. Miu Miu sat there contentedly. Unknowingly, it was time to make up a future video again. What should I make up this time? At first, it was for ability and strength. With strength, I want women. After a few episodes, there are already several women who have relationships with him in the future videos. You can change to something else first to avoid visual fatigue, which will have a bad effect. Anyway, the 4 flowers of Konoha have already begun to actively please him, so there is no need to continue to stimulate them through future videos. So, what about playing something exciting next? Ding! New member quota for the Harem group +1, randomly selecting people to join the group, please wait for a moment host. At this time, a prompt sounded from the system. Add new people again. Miu Miu said that he was used to it and was not surprised at all. Who will it be this time, Yuhi Kurenai? Or Azuki Yugao? Or Kurama Yakumo? Ding! The new member of the harem has been selected, Nadeshiko Takiwa, please ask the host to write a character for her. What? Who is this? A series of question marks hung on Miu Miu's head. He knew Nadeshiko, but he only knew one Nadeshiko Shizuka, the woman who was engaged to Naruto in the original work. But who is Nadeshiko Takiwa? Could it be Shizuka's master, the head of the daughter village? System, who is Nadeshiko Takiwa? Give me her information. Miu Miu asked the system in his heart. Ding! Nadeshiko Takiwa, female, 20 years old, 165 centimeters tall, guard of Nadeshiko Shizuka, the candidate for the head of Nadeshiko village. After the system briefly described the information, it also sent Miu Miu a few photos very considerately. Not only are there full-body photos, close-up photos, headshots, but also nude photos that show off the figure very well. System. After a moment of silence, Miu Miu cursed in his heart, spitting out foul language, unable to stop. No wonder he had no impression of her at all. Except for the two big lumps in front of him, he felt more manly than a man. Maybe there are some people with unique tastes who do like this, but Mushu is not one of them. Miu Miu prefers petite, cute, fair and tender soft girls. And don't forget that this is the second dimension world, and there are few ugly fool walking on the roadside. But this Nadeshiko Takiwa can make Miu Miu feel very manly, which shows how beautiful she is. Ding. Please host write a character for her. Perhaps Miu Miu was stunned for a long time, and the system issued a second prompt. Right, whoever wants this kind of woman can want it. I have so many cute girls that I haven't collected yet, how could I possibly like this kind of pure man from northeast China? Miu Miu almost spit out foul language again. Ding. The host has the right to refuse, but please note that once refused, the other party will not be selected again in the future. Take it, Amitabha. Miu Miu directly put his hands together, posing the classic action of Tang monk refusing to eat ginseng fruit. But the next moment, he suddenly remembered something and hurriedly shouted again, "Hey, wait a minute. I remember you said before that after rejecting the girl, you can use the other party's vest to appear in the chat group." Thinking of this, Miu Miu's eyes suddenly lit up. This is a perfect opportunity. In his impression, there is no ugly young woman in the entire Hokage world. So when the method of using a vest was mentioned at the beginning, Miu Miu felt hopeless. It's not worth it to lose a beautiful girl just for a vest. But now, doesn't the appearance of Nadeshiko Takiwa meet the requirements? Ding. Host, are you sure to reject Nadeshiko Takiwa and replace the other party's identity to join the chat group? Sure, Miu Miu said it decisively this time without any hesitation. Ding. The new harem member Nadeshiko Takiwa has been rejected and will no longer be randomly selected by the group system. Ding. Nadeshiko Takiwa group identity registration is successful. Host can log into this account to enter the chat group in the future. Ding. Host, please write a character for Nadeko Takiwa. Several prompts flashed by in succession, and Miu Miu breathed a sigh of relief and became excited at the same time. From today on, he no longer has to silently peek at the screen, and can take the initiative to join in and lead the rhythm. However, the character design of this Nadeshiko Takiwa should be carefully considered. Considering that it will be his own vest in the future, it should be no problem to write it perfectly. Miu Miu, who was about to start thinking, suddenly realized another problem, and hurriedly asked the system in his mind, "System, if I change the image and appearance of Nadeshiko Takiwa in the character design, and this image appears in the future video, then what will happen to the real Nadeshiko Takiwa?" You know, his ability to fabricate the future can turn falsehood into reality. He had been thinking about making up all kinds of events before, but what if he made up a way to change the other person's appearance? Just like in the next future video, if he made Hinata and others adults, what would happen? Ding. The future made up by the host is the real future, a future that has not yet happened, but it can be intervened by humans, and will develop in different directions due to different choices during the period. Although the system's statement sounds like it is equivalent to saying nothing, it still understands it. For example, he changed the appearance of Nadeshiko Takiwa. If there is no human intervention and no butterfly effect, at the time point in the video, Nadeshiko Takiwa will definitely become the appearance he set. Of course, it will definitely not change suddenly without any warning, and the system will arrange a reasonable reason for it. There are many possibilities, such as plastic surgery after being disfigured, such as using the transformation technique at that time, such as eating something similar to the slippery fruit. So Miu Miu used Nadeshiko Takiwa's vest and mentioned her in the future video, which will also affect the real Nadeshiko Takiwa. And Nadeshiko Takiwa is not in the harem group, so things become a little complicated. If Nadeshiko Shizuka also joins the group later, this vest will be exposed. But this is a matter for the future after all. Wang Qianzhao, Miu Miu only hesitated for a while and soon let it go. Even if he made Nadeshiko Takiwa beautiful in future videos, she would also become beautiful in reality. Miu Miu would not take her into the harem for this reason. Just like Chio Granny and Udatane Kaharu, can they be taken into the harem by making them younger? Too disgusting. Anyway, Mew Mew himself can't accept it, but I don't know which readers with unique tastes will like it. Never mind, let's talk about the future later. I think Nadeshiko Shizuka won't join the group so soon. After she joins the group, I can just give up this vest. As long as they don't take the initiative to admit it, they don't know that the person behind it is me. Perfect. Mew Mew quickly sorted out the clues, and then began to write a character for his new vest. Soon, Mew Mew wrote the effect he wanted, submitted it, and pushed it out. Ding. The character setting has been determined, and new members are being pulled in. Ding. New members have been pulled in successfully. Welcome Fuzzy Takiwa to join the Mew Mew Harem group. Mew Mew logged into the Fuzzy Takiwa account as soon as possible, and a prompt sounded in the chat group at the right time. Ding. Fuzzy Takiwa joins the Mew Mew Harem group. Congratulations Fuzzy Takiwa for becoming a member of the Mew Mew Harem group. Please consciously abide by the following group rules. Familiar taste, familiar formula. Every group member will do this when they just join the group. The girls who are still waiting next to the chat group, waiting to refresh the future video in the early morning, have attracted their attention. Yamanaka Ino, another newcomer. It feels a bit unexpected, but not very unexpected. Tiantian, Fuzzy Takiwa, such a name can be confirmed not from Konoha. Haruno Sakura. This is the 7th member of the group. I wonder what kind of person he is. Uzumaki Karen. Those who join the group are all Mumu-kun's future women. We just hope that they can get along with us in harmony. Hyuga Hinata. Those who can be with Mumu should all be good women, right? Haruno Sakura. Hinata, since you have an idea, then say it for sure. If you are not sure yourself, how can you convince others? And everyone, don't forget group rule 3. If you don't get along with us in harmony, you will be punished. Yamanaka Ino. Haha, the wide-foreheaded man has waited for others to be punished until his neck grows long. It's a pity that he has no chance to see others being punished until now. Haruno Sakura. I seriously suspect that the group system is targeting me. I want to report you. You were already at odds last night. Isolate me as a group. Tiantian. What are you talking about, little Sakura? Are you sleepy and your mind is not clear? Last night we considered the problem from the perspective of the group owner. It was you who was at odds. If someone has to be punished, do you think it will be us or you? Haruno Sakura. Tiantian's words are completely correct. Although it was Tiantian and her entire group who excluded little Sakura, they were all obeying the group rules and protecting the interests of the group owner. And little Sakura wanted to enjoy the group benefits at the time, but didn't want to bear the obligations and responsibilities. This is her own maverick, not fitting into the group. How can she say that others isolate her? It's okay. Little Sakura patted her flat little body, somewhat thankful. This is not a serious case, it doesn't meet the standard for punishment. I have to be more careful in the future. Fortunately, she has stopped at the brink. Although she still believes that Mew Mew will definitely be her man, she has also accepted the fact that she will marry Mew Mew in the future. Accepting reality does not mean accepting it in the heart. These are two different things. But she has accepted it. Even if she doesn't accept it in her heart, she will work towards that direction. Sooner or later, she will accept it. That's probably it. So even if little Sakura hasn't expressed her position in the group, Ino, Tenten and others have temporarily accepted little Sakura and have not mentioned asking her to leave the group. Ding. Received a member report. Group member Haruno Sakura violated Article 3 of the group rules. Confirmed. Report successful. Ding. Group member Haruno Sakura disrupted the harmony of the group and damaged the interests of the group owner. The situation is serious. He will be severely punished after the new member appearance CG is played. After being punished, he will be expelled from the chat group and the relevant memories will be cleared. 2 consecutive group system prompts made everyone in the group dumbfounded. Even Mew Mew was a little unexpected. Haruno Sakura. I reported myself. Little Sakura was completely numb. Not only will he be severely punished, but he will also be expelled from the chat group and the relevant memories will be cleared after the severe punishment. How can this be? But the group system will not change because of personal will. At this time, the CG of Nadeshiko Takiwa's appearance began to play. In a quiet valley, the moonlight was hazy, and 2 figures, a man and a woman, sat together. Both sides held their fingers tightly, and their heads were close to each other. Then, the two turned their heads to look at each other almost at the same time, staring at each other for a moment, and couldn't help kissing each other. With the full moon as the background, the picture looked very beautiful. Soon the picture shifted to a dark bush not far away, CDDB, where a figure squatted looking at the two figures under the moonlight with complicated eyes. After a long time, the two figures slowly separated. Under the light, the faces of the two were revealed clearly. The man was Miu Miu, who looked a little more mature than now, and should be 2 or 3 years later. The woman had black hair, green pupils, and a pure and beautiful appearance. She was about the same age as Miu Miu, and although she was not very old, she was quite impressive. She outshined several young girls in the group. The girl's face was full of love and attachment, and a little shy. She hesitated for a moment, and soon seemed to have made up her mind, pulling Miu Miu's hand and running away. A woman with short brown hair stood up in the bushes. She stared at the two people running, gritted her teeth and whispered, "No. You are the young master. If you don't abide by the village rules, how can you inherit the position of village chief? For the sake of Fushiko village, I can't watch you mess around. Sorry, young master, whether you hate me or not, I have to do this." After saying that, she quickly chased after the two figures. The young master she was talking about was Fushiko Shizuka, the candidate for the village chief of Fushiko village, and she was Shizuka's bodyguard Fushiko Takiwa. Compared with the photos sent to Miu Miu by the system, the Fushiko Takiwa here is not so stout. She was still fierce in front of him, but her arms, legs, waist and other parts were much softer. Her appearance was still the same, but it was also softened, becoming more oriental and feminine. Nadeshiko Takiwa quickly caught up with the two people in front of her. As she expected, Shizuka took Miu Miu home. But Shizuka went into the room first, leaving Miu Miu waiting outside the door for a call. Takiwa took advantage of this moment and quietly climbed in through the window next door. While Shizuka was changing clothes and not prepared, he knocked her out directly and hid in the closet. Takiwa absorbed part of Shizuka's chakra, and used the Nadeshiko-style transformation technique to transform into Shizuka's appearance and called Miu Miu in. So the person who was with Miu Miu afterwards looked like Shizuka on the surface, but was actually Takiwa. Although Miu Miu felt a little awkward, he was in high spirits and didn't think deeply about it. When the matter was over, Shizuka woke up and came out of the closet by herself, and Takiwa also returned to his original appearance. The truth was revealed. Miu Miu was too embarrassed to see Shizuka again, and left alone. Shizuka was hit hard, sealed her heart and locked up her love, and took over the position of the head of Nadeshiko village. Takiwa also felt sorry for Shizuka, and after leaving an apology letter, he quietly left Nadeshiko village. The appearance CG of Nadeshiko Takiwa made people feel mixed emotions, and they didn't know how to sigh. But in comparison, the girls in the group were more concerned about the fact that little Sakura was going to be severely punished and expelled from the chat group, and they didn't care about the newcomer Nadeshiko Takiwa at all. Tiantian, isn't this a bit too serious? Not only is she severely punished, but she is also expelled from the chat group. Uzumaki Karen, I also think that little Sakura has changed, but she just doesn't admit it. Hyuga Hinata, little Sakura. Yamanaka Ino. Group system, wait a minute, we are just joking with little Sakura. Haruno Sakura. Everyone. Little Sakura was panicked and uneasy. Last time, she was only punished slightly, but the taste would make her remember it for the rest of her life. Now she is being severely punished. How serious will it be? What she finds most difficult to accept is that she will be expelled from the chat group after being punished. She finally made up her mind to let go of Sasuke and take Miu Miu as her target. But the group system doesn't even give her this opportunity. After leaving the chat group, she and the people in the group will probably become two different worlds. Then they will go further and further away until they become strangers. No, I don't want this. Little Sakura was so panicked that she almost cried. Seeing that everyone in the group was thinking for her, Ino changed her attitude without even saying anything and helped her plead with the group system. Little Sakura couldn't hold back and cried. She was wrong, she was really wrong. Everything was wrong. But the system is the system, everything seemed to be a set program, no matter how the girls pleaded, it was useless. It was agreed that little Sakura would be severely punished after the appearance CG ended, and the moment the video ended, the severe punishment began. With a swish, little Sakura disappeared from the spot. At the same time, Miu Miu, who was originally lying on the bed with Anko in his arms, also disappeared. This time, not only was the spirit taken away, but also the body was transferred. And the place where they appeared was no longer the small room like last time, but an open-air stage. The dazzling neon lights were shining, and a large amount of dry ice mist was spraying. There was a thrilling DJ crazy sound, and endless waves of sound were boiling. At a glance, the stage was packed with people, too numerous to count. But what was strange was that these people were blurred, their faces were unclear, and they seemed to be just background boards. But what was certain was that they were all women. Some were tall, some were short, some were fat, some were thin, and all were cheering at the top of their lungs. As soon as little Sakura appeared on the stage, she was frightened and trembled. This scene frightened her so much that she covered her ears and screamed with her eyes closed. In the chat group, everyone could see this scene through the live broadcast screen. They had some opinions about little Sakura before, and even though little Sakura had changed her position, she did not have a firm belief, so she only integrated into their group on the surface and did not really get their approval. But no matter what, they really didn't want little Sakura to be treated like this now. If it was just a small punishment like last time, Ino would even laugh and add insult to injury. This time was different. The heavy punishment made them feel uneasy and worried about little Sakura. They felt bad thinking that little Sakura would be kicked out of the group. At this time, the chat group was quiet, and several girls held their breath and stared at the live screen. They could do nothing but pray for little Sakura in their hearts, hoping that she could get through this. The next moment, they saw Miu Miu was also teleported over in the screen, also standing on the stage, just opposite little Sakura. This time, is it a live-action version? Will the chat group be exposed directly? As a result, the girls suddenly became more nervous and uneasy. What they didn't know was that Shu was also thinking about this problem at this time. Miu Miu didn't know that he would appear in person, not in spirit, and he was not invisible. So, how could he not reveal that he knew about the existence of the chat group? Fortunately, he was quick-witted and soon came up with an idea. After looking at the surrounding scene for a while, Miu Miu muttered to himself, "I seem to be sleeping. So this is a dream. This dream is quite real. But what's going on in front of me? I'm on the stage, am I going to perform a show? I can't see the faces of those people below. Well, the background board in the dream. Little Sakura on the opposite side can see it clearly. Last time I realized that I was dreaming, I seem to have defiled Hinata. Is it little Sakura's turn this time? In fact, I hope it's Ino or Tiantian. After all, they have confessed to me, and little Sakura's figure is not that good. Of course, it would be better if the four of them came together. Hee, after all, it's my own dream, I can do whatever I want, anyway, no one knows." Chatting crowd girl, Ino thought to herself. As expected, Miu Miu-kun is a big sultry, he actually YY them in his dream. But compared to that, at least the chat group was not exposed, it's acceptable. The other girls' thoughts were similar to Ino's, but they didn't know that Miu Miu and little Sakura entered in real body, otherwise they would never think so. After Miu Miu's appearance fooled them, little Sakura over there also slightly adapted to the scene in front of her, and also discovered Miu Miu. When Miu Miu was talking, the background DJs and the cheers of the crowd in the audience were automatically lowered. So Xiao Yi heard what Miu Miu said. Xiao Sakura knew that they had come in their true bodies, so she subconsciously wanted to remind Miu Miu and seek Miu Miu's help. But she found that the words that came to her throat suddenly could not be said. And soon she also realized that this kind of thing cannot be said. What if Miu Miu can't change this? At that time, what happened between the two? At least now he thought it was a dream. 0. But once she said it, she would be too embarrassed to see anyone in the future. No, after the heavy punishment, her memory will be wiped out, so how can she remember whether she has the face to see anyone? It's too bad, it's the same day. Little Sakura wanted to cry but had no tears, and she was already desperate. Who will save her? If the group system can take back the order, little Sakura swears that she can do anything, including wholeheartedly believing in Miu Miu in the future. Ding! The punished Haruno Sakura, the punishment is about to start. You have two choices now. 1. On this stage, in front of many audiences, please the harem group leader. No matter what method is used, until his satisfaction value reaches max. When the group leader's satisfaction value reaches max, the punishment of the punished person ends. After that, the punished person Haruno Sakura will be removed from the chat group and all memories related to the chat group will be erased. 2. On this stage, in front of many audiences, please the harem group leader. No matter what method is used, make his satisfaction value reach max, the audience's satisfaction value reaches max. And your own satisfaction value reaches max. All three satisfaction values are max, which can offset the removal from the chat group and the elimination of related memories. The group system prompt sound echoed over the stage. Not only did the little Sakura and Mew Mew hear it, but even the girls in the chat group could hear it. At the same time, 3 progress bars appeared on the electronic screen behind the stage. They were marked as Mew Mew, Audience, Little Sakura. Currently, all 3 progress bars are 0, which should be the so-called satisfaction value. The sudden system prompt almost silenced everyone, even Mew Mew didn't know what to say. There are 2 choices. In fact, the only choice for little Sakura is whether to stay in the chat group. No matter what, she will be severely punished. If she chooses the first one, although the process may be extremely uncomfortable, she will leave the chat group later and the relevant memories will be clear, which means that it has never happened. Of course, this is just self-deception. After all, there are live broadcasts in the group, and the videos will be left, and little Sakura will also be marked. However, if she regards this as a painful thing, clearing the memory is obviously the best result. But if she chooses the second one, she will not only have to pay a greater price, but even if she can stay and continue to enjoy the benefits of chatting, will she still have the face to face others? Not to mention that little Sakura's face is so ugly, even the sisters in the group feel pain for her. If it were them, no matter the first or the second one, they would not be able to say it or do it. No, Karen should be able to do it, she is a crazy fan of Mew Mew. Mumu. Little Sakura on the stage showed an ugly smile, holding a glimmer of luck and said, otherwise, you can just say that you are satisfied now. She knew that Mumu thought she was dreaming, so it should be easier to fool Mumu. Perhaps she could raise Mumu's satisfaction value by chatting. Satisfied, Mumu grinned. At this time, is little Sakura still only thinking about herself? Even if she wants to reduce losses, shouldn't she do something to please him first? Just relying on empty words, White Fang wants to get away with it, then this punishment is too childish. Mumu felt sorry for little Sakura before, but now he just thinks that little Sakura deserves to be taught a lesson. Yes, little Sakura tried to make herself look more gentle and began to guide, aren't we friends? Now I am facing difficulties. As long as you show satisfaction with me, you can help me, and I will definitely thank you very much. Quote. Did you see the progress bar at the back? Find a way to make it reach the full value. This should grow by sensing your emotions, so only you can help me. As for her own progress bar, she just tried to change her mood. Unfortunately, in this situation, she couldn't adjust her mood at all, and the progress bar didn't fluctuate. So she thought, maybe when Mew Mew's progress bar grows, her mood will also improve, and the progress bar will also increase accordingly. As for the one in the middle representing the audience, she will think about it later. If it really doesn't work, she can only make the first choice and exit the chat group. However, little Sakura thought too simply. Mew Mew spread his hands and said, I have tried it. I can't make the progress bar fluctuate by myself. I also heard the prompt just now. Although I don't know what happened, and I don't know how I became the leader of the harem group, but since it asks you to please me, it means that only if you do this, the progress bar will change. Little Sakura didn't doubt Mew Mew's words. The expression that had already shown a glimmer of hope immediately became ugly again. So what do you think I should do to please you? Little Sakura asked, gritting her teeth. Mew Mew stroked his chin, thinking seriously, and said, the word please has a wide range of meanings. It can make me happy, it can be comfortable, or it can be transparent. These all represent different meanings. How about this? Since this is a stage, you can perform a few talents that can make people happy when they see you. Let's try it first. Because of the experience of being punished last time, the please in little Sakura's mind is the kind that goes straight to the point. And there is a progress bar, and it has to reach max. She knows that she may even have to give up her body to be able to do it. But now when she heard Miu Miu say this, she was stunned. It seems like this is also possible, right? Satisfaction doesn't necessarily mean doing that kind of thing, right? Maybe being happy can also increase satisfaction. Although little Sakura doesn't have any talent, in order not to do that kind of thing, she tried to tell a few jokes, sang a few songs, and even twisted her body to dance an unknown dance. After a round, the response was mediocre. The audience's cheers had long since died down, and they all looked at the stage quietly. Miu Miu also had a calm expression. I almost fell asleep. Little Sakura glanced at the electronic screen. It was not completely without fluctuations, but it was better than nothing. Miu Miu's side increased by 5%, the audience's increased by 1%, and she herself increased by 20%. If I keep repeating the programs just now, will the progress bar rise little by little until it is full? Little Sakura asked Miu Miu weakly. What do you think? Miu Miu looked at her expressionlessly. As the conversation between the two sides fell, the progress bar representing Miu Miu on the electronic screen dropped to 2%. The progress bar of the audience was also directly cleared. What a joke. It can fall back. Little Sakura was immediately anxious. If it can fall back after it has been raised, how long will it take for me to finish it? It will never be full in my lifetime. At this time, the girls in the chat group were also worried about little Sakura. Yamana Ino. This really doesn't work. Although what Mumu-kun said is also a method, even if you have many talents, you can only make people happy for a short time, and the satisfaction value can never reach max, not to mention that little Sakura doesn't have any talents. Tiantian. I think so too. The progress bar may be divided into several levels. The first level can be reached as long as you are happy normally. The second level may require a big happy event. The third level is happiness, and there may be more. Tiantian. If I were to do it, I think I could only do 50 to 60, 60 to 70 at most. If I want to reach max, at least I can't think of a way now. Hyuga Hinata. Little Sakura is so pitiful. If it were me, I wouldn't know what to do. Uzumaki Karen. Actually, at this time, I can go up and kiss Mumu-kun and see the reaction. At most, it's just dedication. Anyway, it's just consciousness. It's no big deal. Yamanaka Ino. Karen, not everyone is like you. Even if it's just consciousness, it's a real experience. Little Sakura had no such thoughts about Mumu-kun to begin with, and now it's too much for her to do this. Hyuga Hinata. If little Sakura can't get her satisfaction level up to the maximum, will she be trapped there forever? If little Sakura can't get out, will Mumu be trapped inside too? Yamanaka Ino. Is that so? Tiantian. Regardless of whether it's true or not, it's useless for us to say more here. It won't reach little Sakura, and we can't do anything except worry. Hyuga Hinata. Little Sakura. This method may not work. Miu Miu thought of a way for her with a caring look on his face, and said in a deep voice, although I also want to make myself happy, to be honest, your talent is really not flattering, and it can't mobilize my emotions at all. Little Sakura's face flushed instantly. She knew it herself, but being directly exposed by others was simply too embarrassed. But just now, she had tried her best and worked hard. Besides this, she couldn't come up with more talents. What should I do? Little Sakura couldn't bear the pressure and started crying. She wiped her tears and said, I'm still a beautiful girl. I haven't even been in love. I don't want to be trapped here forever. She has done the best she can, but the progress bar just fluctuated a little bit and fell back. What's the difference between this and not moving at all? If it's so difficult to brush the satisfaction value, she can't brush for her whole life. Wouldn't she be unable to get out forever? Even if she wants to accept the fate of being expelled from the group and having her memory cleared, she can't do it. As little Sakura cried sadly, her own 20% satisfaction value, which had risen due to self-indulgence, began to drop. Infected, this side was also cleared. Little Sakura, calm down. Miu Miu said helplessly. You can't solve the problem even if you cry anymore, you're almost done. Little Sakura immediately looked at the electronic screen, and was so scared that she quickly covered her mouth and dared not cry anymore. But even if she didn't cry, she couldn't solve the problem in front of her, and her mood would not be good. If she didn't feel good, her satisfaction value would still drop. The lower it dropped, the worse her mood would be. At this point, there is only one way. Mew Mew suddenly gritted his teeth, as if he had made a difficult decision. Little Sakura was stunned, and then said with joy, "What way?" "As long as there is hope, I am willing to try any way." In order not to be trapped here forever, little Sakura felt that she could accept even the most excessive things now, even if it meant devoting herself to Mew Mew. But she was not stupid, and knew that simply devoting herself would definitely not push Mew Mew's satisfaction value to max. If it dropped again at that time, she would have paid in vain, and might even waste an opportunity to reach max. "You just said you haven't been in love before, which just reminded me," Mew Mew said with an embarrassed expression, "but what I'm going to say next is just my personal guess. I can't guarantee whether it's correct, and you don't have to listen to me. I just saw that you have no other way, so I gave you a suggestion, and there is no other meaning. If you have a way, just tell me quickly, I will definitely not think too much, and I won't blame you." Little Sakura urged anxiously. In fact, she had a premonition long ago. The last time she was punished, she was just a lesson. This time, the heavy punishment would not let her be intact. The talent show just now was like a child's play, and she just held a little luck in her heart. Now that it doesn't work, she can only choose to accept it. The pressure of staying here is too great, and it almost drives her crazy. Little Sakura now just wants to leave this hellhole as soon as possible. As for the rest, let's take it one step at a time. Mew Mew thought and said, "If I remember correctly, the prompt sound just now said that you are a punished person, and I am here to cooperate with you to accept the punishment. I won't pursue the reason. Now it seems that I have taken a big advantage." "Then what?" Little Sakura intuitively felt that Mew Mew's words seemed to have a key point, but she couldn't grasp it for a while. Mew Mew continued, "Since I am the one who cooperates with you to accept the punishment, and there is also my satisfaction value later, then what kind of punishment you should receive should be determined by my heart. And the progress bar must reach 100% to be max. That is, you have to make me feel the greatest beauty and satisfaction in the world, and my satisfaction value can reach max, isn't that the truth?" After Mew Mew finished speaking, little Sakura was silent. The meaning is easy to understand, and it is also very simple and crude, and it is possible that even children can understand it. But before, little Sakura was lucky enough to want to leave here without paying a price, or to pay a price, so she ignored the most basic information. Now that Mew Mew had just finished speaking, little Sakura immediately understood that what Mew Mew said was right. Even if she chose the first option given by the system, she had to make Mew Mew completely satisfied and clear his mind and body. Little Sakura did not express her opinion, but just looked at Mew Mew indifferently and asked mechanically, "What is your true intention? What should I do to make you clear your mind and body and feel the greatest beauty and satisfaction in this world?" It's not that she has any opinion on Mew Mew, but she is glad that Mew Mew, the intelligent toolman, is present so that she can find blind spots. But even so, thinking that she may have to please the other party wholeheartedly in the future, it is difficult for her to look at Mew Mew calmly. Mew Mew smiled awkwardly and said, "First of all, I really regard you as my friend, and I don't mean to blaspheme. But I am a boy after all, and now I am in a dream. No matter my ambition or desire, it will be maximized. I defiled Hinata in my last dream, and then I thought that I might meet Ino or Tenten, or even let the four of you be together. So, as long as I do that with you, your satisfaction value will reach max." Little Sakura interrupted Mew Mew directly. "Well, it may not be that simple." Mew Mew coughed dryly, looking as if he was trying his best to find loopholes, and said, "If you ask me if I am satisfied, then I am definitely satisfied. But if it is max level, then there should be four together. But now there is only me here, it is impossible for you to have four." Little Sakura interrupted him again, and then sneered, "Otherwise, try to look for them under the stage and see if you can find them. Or find a few similar ones. I didn't expect Mew Mew's heart to be so dirty. It was right for me not to stay in the group. I couldn't wholeheartedly and firmly believe in such a man. Miu Miu didn't care about the contempt of little Sakura. Now she despises me, and she will come to please me. She will soon be able to recognize who is the father. I just took a rough look, and there shouldn't be them. Miu Miu pretended to laugh awkwardly, and then reminded, and don't forget, the one who is punished now is you, not them. Even if you can find them out and they satisfy me, it should have nothing to do with you, right? Little Sakura was speechless instantly. Why did I talk nonsense in the group before, saying that I would report them for being in opposition every day? This place is simply hell. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.